Drive 4488 next to Pet Supplies Plus. Stop in, open 7 days a week.
Are you in the market for a vehicle? A vehicle that's like new, but you don't want to break the bank? Look no further than GM-certified pre-owned vehicles at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. With rates as low as 3.9% for 36 months on GM-certified vehicles, you can find new roads without the high price tag. Whether it's a Chevy Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, or Traverse, you'll get a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. You can drive with confidence knowing your vehicle is covered. Visit online anytime at SteetPonteChevy.com to browse the complete inventory. Steet Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steet Ponte Chevrolet, your family-owned and operated dealership. Customer must qualify top tier through GM Financial. All taxes and fees due on delivery. Must take delivery by August 31st, 2023.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Aches and pains aren't trophies. They're just barriers keeping pros like you from getting the work done. You know this business can be back-breaking. All the more reason to partner with someone who has your back, like Clinton Tractor and Ferris Commercial Mowers. Ferris is about helping you finish strong and feel good doing it, with patented suspension technology that allows you to mow faster and get more work done in comfort so you can feel good tomorrow. Visit Clinton Tractor today or at clintontractor.net. Ferris, work hard, feel good.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
What are we looking at? Clouds today, and then not bad for the remainder of the week. But boy, this is not, we're not going to be dealing with the 100-degree temperatures they're playing with around the country. Yesterday was nice. Yesterday was your typical August day, but the rest of the week will be in the 70s. So it's almost like, you said it last week, we're going to start feeling a bit of that fall weather. Yeah. But we felt it all the month of August. Just so crazy. Nonetheless, clouds today, and then we have partly cloudy skies for most of the rest of the week. Fairly dry. Wow, the Yankees, Davey, I know you didn't watch it. Did you watch it? He's watching it right now. He's looking at it.
Huh?
Did you see the Yankees? Oh, boy.
No, I didn't. I was away this weekend, so I didn't watch any of the Yankees.
This is the first time since 19 what? or the first time in the last 28 years.
So you're looking at like 94, 95?
Yeah.
Now, one of those seasons, they had 100-something wins. So I can't imagine that's the year, right? Wasn't it 94 or 95?
It was in 98 when they had the remarkable season.
Yeah. Nonetheless, in the Mets losing yesterday in a game that they probably could have won, but again, pitching becomes the problem. However, Jeff, I got to say, they're within reach of the wild card, and there's a very big series about to occur. It's a very big week for the Mets.
Yeah, it is a big week. We start by playing the Braves, then we take on the Angels.
Braves, who, by the way, embarrassed the Mets last week. So this is a big one, and this is in Atlanta. It's funny because Gary Cohen was saying, if you look at the math, the Mets could be in it in the hunt in September. And Keith Hernandez, being the realist that he is, said, I'm not even talking about it until we get through this Braves series. Now, his take is if the Mets could actually win the series, maybe 2-1, then it's time to start talking about the fact that they're within reach.
Yeah, they still would have to hop over several teams along the way.
Well, you've got right now for the leaders, of course, Atlanta, Dodgers, Milwaukee, and then the wild card teams, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and the Cubs. And ahead of the Mets, San Diego, Miami, Cincinnati, and Arizona. The Mets are 7 games out of the wild card spot. Just a game behind San Diego.
No chance.
No chance, says Davey. Okay.
We would have to San Francisco, Chicago, Cincinnati, Miami,
That's
Arizona,
a big
and Padres.
feat.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams ahead of us. Look, I said to you earlier when
the
you
big
came
ones
in,
would be the Miami, Cincinnati, and Arizona. They're both a game out of the wild card.
It's certainly not impossible. We've blown bigger leads than this with fewer games to play, so it is absolutely possible.
Listen, not likely, but it would be nice if they'd stay in it and keep it feeling like it's alive. It would make the next, month and a little bit month and a couple of weeks worth at least staying with them. Davey, over the weekend, the Bills. Wow, people are predicting. I believe it was Richard. Bills will be third in the division. People are predicting this team is not what it was. They had their chance last year, and I don't know what happened, but they looked really bad over the weekend. I mean, Josh Allen looked pretty good, but everything around him looked terrible.
Yeah, defense looked bad. Too many mental errors. I only watched the first 3 possessions of the first quarter.
Listen. The penalties were a huge problem. I mean, I realize that preseason doesn't mean all that much, but when you play like that, I think it does. So how they react, we'll have to see. They have one more preseason game, and then it'll be the Bills and Jets on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Wow.
Amazingly, the season kicks off 2 weeks from this Thursday. That's the Thursday night game. And go figure.
That is incredible how quickly we're going to be playing football.
Can you remember the last time, first of all, that the Detroit Lions were in a featured game that wasn't on Thanksgiving? The Detroit Lions are playing in the season opener at Kansas City.
And a lot of experts are saying Detroit is going to be the winner of the Central. One of the teams to watch.
Okay.
Let's see. This story, terrible, on the New York State Thruway in Farmington. A 46-year-old man was killed on Friday night when he jumped in front of a tractor trailer on the Thruway in Ontario County. What an awful way to go. And the other part of this is, they always say that suicide leaves so many victims, right?
Yeah.
And that some would call it even a selfish act because you're causing so many problems with so many people, family, friends, etc. But in this case, what must it be like for the tractor trailer driver?
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's brutal.
You're creating a victim here. The man was struck at about 7:24 p.m. in the eastbound lanes between Canandaigua and Manchester. Exits 44 and 43 in the town of Farmington. That makes it into the Rochester region. One eastbound lane of the highway was closed until 1 a.m. Troopers said reports were made out of the Ontario County 911 Center that the man was having mental health issues. He pulled his car over to the side of the highway. The car had its hazard lights on. The 59-year-old truck driver from Florida applied his brakes when the man jumped in front of the truck. The truck driver, however, could not stop before hitting the man. He was declared dead at the scene, according to troopers, and the name has not been released. Just on the other hand, we talk about the selfishness. What had to be going through this person's mind to do something like this? It's just terrible.
Yeah, it is. And I, as you pointed out, I do feel bad for the truck driver. I don't know how you get over something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, any time that he's on the highway again and sees someone's hazard lights pulled over on the side of the road, he's got to. It almost has the possibility, it would seem, to create like a PTSD type situation where you see a similar setting and you're like, oh my God, is someone going to run in front of my truck?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not something that you would normally expect to have to deal with, right? You were talking about how many things are connected to your Wi-Fi. We spoke with the people from Innovari and Rome Labs on Friday, and there's a story up on the website along with the interview. Very interesting. When you start to, and I began trying to add things up at my house. There's an app you can use that'll show you everything that's connected, and I think you'd be incredibly shocked. But every time you add a light bulb, that's a connection. Every time you have
certain light bulbs, right?
Well, a smart light bulb is what I'm saying. Not every light bulb. But if you add a smart light bulb or a smart switch or you have an outdoor light that is a smart light that maybe feeds there's a camera, or you have a Ring doorbell or your thermostat, all of that stuff just continues to add up as the number of connections. And the question is, how are we doing when it comes to making sure that those connections are safe from intruders?
Yeah. So it's something that they have opened up to industry, academia, and I believe the private sector as well. When I say industry, I say those looking to protect your information, and then also those who create those devices. So it's an interesting thing they have going on. Again, another development, the future unfolding at Griffiths, and in this particular case, the Innovari Center for Advancement.
We have a really interesting story. There was a man who had his car stolen from here. And we're going to get into this with Senator Griffo coming up in a second. There was a man who had his car stolen from here. He turned it in to authorities. They were searching for it, thought they had it. Then the car darted off to Syracuse. So whoever stole the car took it then to Syracuse. Finally, beyond Syracuse, the car was finally apprehended and taken into the man taken the thief taken into custody, et cetera, et cetera. So now it's evidence. So they're dealing with it. The guy's trying to get his car back. So they're saying, no, this is evidence. We can't give up the car. Well, it's my only form of transportation. I need to be able to get to work. So finally received help from local politicians here and authorities. They finally had okayed, I believe it may be the Syracuse Police Department, has okayed the vehicle to return here. He just recently found out they're going to return the vehicle, but in order for him to get it back, he has to pay $700.
Why?
For towing of the vehicle back. And it has to be, because it is considered evidence, it just can't be released. It has to be transported back by law. So it's a crazy story. And here this guy he cannot afford to pay the $700. So we'll talk to Griffo coming up in a few minutes about this story. And maybe we can all, I just had this feeling that maybe we could chip in and help this guy out. If we all chipped in just a little bit, it would be enough to pay for this thing and the guy gets his car back. A complete victim in this case. He did nothing wrong. I don't even believe the keys were left in the car. It was carjacked and or whatever. And they finally find the vehicle. The vehicle is not damaged and destroyed, but he can't afford to get it back. Am I the only one feeling bad for this guy?
No, I feel bad for him.
Can't
also,
believe it.
I'm thinking to myself of other examples, like at what point would insurance kick in? If they ruined the car, you would imagine that would kick in, right?
Yeah,
But you wouldn't want that to happen, would
right,
you?
Right. Well, maybe it'd been better off if it did.
Right.
Yeah.
If someone breaks into your home and smashes a window, is that covered by insurance?
I believe that would be covered by insurance. Depending on the insurance policy, but I think almost every case it would be covered by insurance.
Look, if the cops are driving it back or law enforcement of some level, why does he have to pay for towing? Where did it get towed?
It has to be transferred. I don't know. I will talk to Griffo, but there's a legal thing about this because it is considered evidence, and it just can't be released.
Good morning.
So because it is evidence, it has to come back in a it has to come back in a different way, which costs $700. Well, I don't know. Let's
okay.
Get the
details
from Griffo.
I'm going to go way out of the box here, but go ahead.
First of all, let me say this. No matter what happens in this case, I think there's a scenario where we could talk about changing the law, right? There should be a change in the law where this isn't the case. It just seems really, really unfair to the victim. But we'll get into it coming up with Griffo. Let's see. I want to get the latest on former President Trump. Donald Trump seeking to delay the federal election case until April of 2026. I find this hard to believe that it'll happen. However, I don't know how they're going to get all these trials in. Especially look at the one in Georgia. That has another 18 litigants involved. How do you coordinate that trial? We'll get the latest now from Ryan Schmelz. Good morning, Ryan, from Fox News Radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. What do we know here?
President Trump's legal team in this case is doing what they're likely going to be doing in every single case, which is trying to get a trial date. And one, they're aiming for April of 2026, which looks like it's probably going to be unrealistic based off what the judge is going to hear. But it's a drastic change compared to what the prosecution wants. So the prosecution wants the trial to begin in January 2nd of 2024, which is just a few weeks away from the Iowa caucuses, which Trump's legal team is pretty much no way that agree to that.
You are breaking up a little bit on your line. We're getting about 3/4
Hear me
of
now?
it. Yeah, I think I've got you now. The great phrase of the 2000s. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can.
Okay, so in just recapping what you had said is that the prosecution saying that that's just unlikely that this is going to happen. On the other hand, they're looking to have this done very, very quickly before the election gets underway. And Ryan, I don't know how that gets done.
Yeah, and based off what some lawyers might tell you and what some legal analysts might tell you is that both sides are kind of picking dates that seem to be a little unrealistic, and we'll ultimately hear from the judge later this month when she'll rule likely on when we're going to have a trial, and that date's expected to be August 28th, I should say. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's certainly the prosecution is pushing for a very ambitious start date in terms of how early it is. But then now you have the defense pushing an even more ambitious, or maybe just as ambitious, date to be so far down the road, down into 2026, that that might be a non-starter for the judge here.
I also thought it was interesting. A lot of the Democratic pundits out there referencing the fact that the former president was going to have a big press conference and was going to be announcing all of this evidence that would prove that the election was rigged in Georgia, but then he backed off. And something that, and the only part of this that I agree with them on is it is unlike the former president to say, I'm following my attorney's advice, but that's just what happened, right?
Right. Yes. President Trump was kind of teasing this this evidence drop as something that was going to, quote, completely exonerate him. Now, ultimately, he decided not to do that, and he made the announcement that he wasn't going to do it not long after making the announcement that he was going to do this. So this all happened in a short week span where he put out the tweet saying this is all coming down next Monday, then ultimately decided not to do that.
Yeah.
So, I think we're still kind of expecting him to release something that he claims is going to show that the election was rigged against him. But as of right now, we still don't know what that is, and he's not really doing it with the fanfare that he initially was going to.
I guess I'd say, why did he wait until now? This election happened a long time ago. If it was rigged, I would want to. Why wouldn't you have released unless it's new information that he's received? That's possible. So we'll see.
I believe he is claiming that they have been doing their own investigation for the last 2 years to kind of come up with all the evidence and then ultimately release it as one like this. So that certainly is something, I believe, one of the arguments he's been making. But you know what? You kind of brought up an interesting point because the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, who, some would say he's been a staunch conservative governor, but, has not seen eye to eye with President Trump when it comes to the 2020 election stats. He kind of came out over the week or late last week and said, do we really want to keep talking about something that happened 3 years ago when we have a winnable presidential election ahead of us?
Yeah. It's a very good point. Okay, Ryan, thanks as always. We appreciate it, and we'll do it again.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Ryan Schmelz with Fox News Radio.
So it's coming later today, right? The same Trump time, same Trump channel. This is what we've all been saying.
It's not coming today.
Oh, it's not coming?
No.
I thought he kicked it to Monday.
No. Monday was the day. Today was the day. He is decided to follow his attorney's advice, and he will not give this information out, that they would rather see that something that they would use, this information they would use in the court to defend him. So he is not delivering this big announcement.
But, Bill, this information, according to Trump, would completely
exonerate
him.
That is true.
There would be no case.
But I think we're going to hold off for the big moment to do it in the trial and not here in public.
Because the lawyers got to make their money, too.
That might be the reason. Can
you see the lawyer?
You seem sarcastic to me this morning. I'm just laying it out there. Let me go to Senator Joe Griffo's on the line right now. Joseph, good morning.
Good morning.
A.
B.
Good.
I was just throwing. We'll see if Joe wants to get into it, but nonetheless, good morning, Senator. Good morning.
Good morning, William, Jeff, and Smitty.
Okay, so this story that we have talked about has many pieces to it, but let's just start with it on the face of the story, and that is that there's a gentleman who had his car stolen. He is a victim in this case, and now he is struggling and has been struggling to get the vehicle back.
Yeah, I think this is, again, a reflection, unfortunately, of how the criminal justice system has gone askew, and you see that victims and the law-abiding citizens seem to be at the disadvantage in this new world of the criminal justice system, so-called reforms, where they're facing significant problems. And in this particular incident, you had an individual whose car was stolen in the city of Rome. The car was transported to the city of Syracuse by the offenders, and they then engaged in illegal activity in Syracuse. I think there was outstanding work done by the law enforcement agencies, both the Rome Police Department and the Syracuse Police Department, because they were able to apprehend the individual and to recover the vehicle. Then the problem becomes when you look at some of the new issues, and you've heard our DA talk about this with discovery. So the individual gets to be released, but then the investigative process goes on because of what needs to take place, obviously, in any type of case where an individual is apprehended and then has to face the consequences.
Yeah.
So here, what happens now is the offender is pretty much out, and then because they dealt with the situation, the car had to be brought back to Rome. The only way to do that, in order not to tamper with evidence, is to transport it to tow it, basically. So after a while, I ran into the individual who spoke to me and just said, is there any way you think I may get some help, because I haven't had my car in 3 months. It was stolen in May, and this is the beginning of August. And while it's not normally within our jurisdiction, I wanted to see what we could do to help. So I then engaged with conversations with the Rome Police Department, who were very cooperative. Again, I think they did an exceptional job. Explained what had happened, and that the vehicle had been brought back, but there was still some issues, obviously, with evidence and things of that nature with the attorneys that represented the offender. And so ultimately what we needed to do is get the district attorney to sign off to release the vehicle, which Scott McNamara did because he understood what was going on here and the importance of trying to be supportive of the victim. In the end, once it was determined that the car could be released because everything had been done in accordance with the law that needed to be done from a criminal justice perspective, this individual then was able to get his car, but upon going to receive the car, was told it would be a $700 charge. That charge is because that's what it cost for the company to bring the car from Syracuse to Rome. The problem is this guy did nothing wrong. He was the victim. Now he's facing a $700 price tag. Now that's not a reflection, again, on any other communities, Syracuse or Rome. The law enforcement agencies did what they had to do, and they can't be responsible for paying for something that had to be done in order to fulfill the law and to make sure that they were following proper procedures. So here you have an individual now who is, doesn't have a lot of money that he can expend $700, but he's the victim. Here's an individual whose car was stolen, and now it's going to cost him $700 to get his car back, and that's outrageous.
I think the other part of this that just kills me is here's the thief who allegedly stole the car. He has been booked and then released because of bail reform, and how much. What's he going to see at the end of the day? So so the one who really gets punished is the victim.
Absolutely, and I don't know all the other nuances of the case, obviously relative to the offender, but and what type of illegal activity they were involved in, and exactly where it is now within the system, but relative to the victim, this individual. It's just really, again, like anybody else, living day to day and trying to make a living and get by. And now the individual doesn't have a vehicle, and it's going to cost someone $700 to when he did nothing wrong.
Right.
So I know we were talking. I brought it to your attention, and we're trying to figure out ways of how to help him to potentially raise money to pay this bill, and then. Hopefully he would be able to get his car back. Now there is insurance, and they're dealing with the insurance company too, but that becomes a little bit of an issue. You tend to get into the bureaucratic realm there where you file, and I'm not sure ultimately what the eligibility will be, but we're trying to help there too because he's had some issues in trying to get to the insurance company, not to drag their feet, but to figure out what may be eligible, if anything, and then what would the payout be potentially?
Well, and the other problem with insurance is if he has a deductible, the deductible might be $500. It could be more than that.
Sure.
He'll end up having to pay anyway. So, all right. I know you seem to be.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. One, I would assume the person responsible for this. This is just an example. I'm going to take a little dig at New York State real quick. Before I get into a couple other questions, I would imagine the person responsible for this was freed on bail with and issued a court date for the future, essentially given an
no bail,
ticket.
right?
Freed on no bail, right?
Correct.
No bail set.
So he doesn't.
Meanwhile, the car is behind a chain link fence that you can't get to.
Held with bail. The car is being held with bail. The person who stole it gets away scot-free.
I just have a follow-up on the part about the towing and the tampering with evidence. I'm just surprised at that being the justification that it had to be towed back, that it couldn't be driven by law enforcement, because essentially once the owner retakes possession of the vehicle, it's still evidence. But, I mean, what would stop him from planning of, 8 kilos in the trunk and saying this guy did it? You know what I mean? I'm just surprised that law enforcement can't drive it if they're willing to turn it over to the rightful owner, but somebody who's just a member of the general public and can do anything.
Joe, we talked about this. What's the reason why it can't be done that way?
Yeah, so I don't have all the specifics right now with me, but I was told initially it was because of the activity that took place within the car. and how they used the car, the illegal activity that you couldn't tamper with anything and you disrupt anything from an evidentiary perspective. Now, in many cases, they can take photos. You also have, if there's an attorney involved, that they need to see the vehicle in a certain way. So I don't have the specifics, Jeff, on that, but I did inquire and make ask the same question you did initially as to how the procedure was undertaken and why the procedure was undertaken in the manner in which it was. And my recollection is something that any disruption of evidence, but obviously somebody in the prosecutor's office or in law enforcement could address that and answer it a lot better than myself.
I just am
if you remember, Jeff, when you were talking about, and I think Bill said you were a little sarcastic today, but I think you're right on when you talked about what you just said about the car being behind a chain link fence. But if you remember, we had an individual in our area that I think 3 times in one day law enforcement arrested the individual for taking a car.
I believe in the Oneida area.
Had to release him, and then he did it again. Do you remember that?
Yep.
It was not too long ago.
So I just, what other questions do you have?
Just one more. Is there any chance that if this if the alleged perpetrator is found guilty, that the $700 fee could be covered in restitution? I don't know that how long it would take for the person to be reimbursed the $700, but is that something that's typically covered as part of restitution?
I don't know what would be done in any kind of sentencing. Ultimately, I think that might be a possibility, but again, wondering whether or not the individual would have the ability to have recourse to that type of money in order to remit payment, if that was one of the outcomes. But still, you have an individual who for 3 months now has not had a vehicle, and still has to wait for that. So
can we get the?
I don't know how long that would take.
Can we get
indeed it even was possible?
Can we get the individual's name?
Yeah, I mean the individual's name is Gerald Storms in Rome and lives in the city of Rome. I probably could get him to maybe get on the radio with you, but we'll have to check with him first.
Okay.
But just think it's, again, a reflection of what's wrong today, that here you have someone who was victimized and now in order to get their car back has to pay $700, which he did nothing wrong. It should not have any cost attached to him in any way. So that's the problem, and that's what we really got to face as we move forward. And I know there are a lot of people who are willing to try to help people like this.
So when we were out over the weekend, this is I have 5 people who have committed 20, including myself, who each were chipping in $20
for this.
So we're at $100 right now.
That we do it right now.
I hate to say this, but I don't want to. I'd like to try to do something. If we could just chip in a little, Joe. So our party.
Right, here's $20 from me.
Okay, Manaski's at $20. All right, so that puts us at $120, Joe. And the goal is that we try to raise the $700 for this guy at some point here this morning, and we'll deliver it to him, and he can get his car back. This is ridiculous. Here's somebody who wants to work, who wants to get to work every day, doesn't want to leave the workforce, and all he wants to do is to be able to get his car back.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
And are you telling me that I would imagine they're not going to take an IOU for the $700? Are you telling me his vehicle can't even be released until he pays
the money? Yeah.
All right.
That is correct.
Jeez.
Yep. Okay. What, Joe? And how do we? Is there a way to change down the road? So, by the way, $100, then $20. We're at $120. You could call Davey if you'd like to give, and pledge the money to help this guy out. 315-736. There are so many people in the world who get handouts today. Here's somebody who really, really works hard and deserves it, in my opinion. Did nothing wrong. 315-736-0186 if you want to pledge to Davey this morning.
And, Bill, the other thing is that I did reach out to the Crime Victims Board. They were very good to talk to, but unfortunately they do not have discretion or flexibility in something like this. So as a result of our conversation, we discussed possibly legislation being introduced at the start of the new legislative session to give the Crime Victims Board greater flexibility to address situations like this too. So hopefully moving forward, we'll see some changes too that maybe can help individuals who are facing similar circumstances if indeed that ever happens. Yeah. Again.
What is the what does the Crime Victims Board do?
Well, they're out there to help people who have been victimized by crime.
Okay, all right.
But so let me ask you, in this particular, if they don't have financial support, what do they give? Emotional support?
No, they even do have some forms of financial support, Jeff. But for this particular type of a situation and incident, they did not have the flexibility, discretion to give a grant or something like that. So they were very good, though. They discussed how they would love to have that opportunity and flexibility, and what we would need to do to try to statutorily give them that. And we're going to work on that when we get back in January.
All right.
We have a comment here coming from Matt, and I believe it's Matt in Holland Patton. Yes, it is. All right, here's Matt's comment here. I think his anger is a bit misdirected. He says, that's BS. The City of Rome PD or the Syracuse Police Department can pay that bill. We pay enough taxes to cover the $700. This is what he says here. Izzo should step in and step up. And then he followed up to say, enough with the excuses, cut the red tape.
Yeah, that's not accurate in the sense that you can't be blaming the city of Rome or the city of Syracuse. You know, they're just following procedures, and the cities can't outlay those type of monies for something. You know, in this case, because it's part of the criminal justice system, and you're right, it's misdirected. We need to change the criminal justice system and the way this works. Obviously, there has to be balance. That's why you have the scales of justice. But in this case, the scales, I think, have gone askew, and victims are not – people who are the victims of crime don't seem to be given the benefit that they should as a result of the offender. And we tend to bend over backwards for offenders. And you've heard that from the district attorney.
Yep.
So you should not cast any aspersion on the city of Syracuse or the city of Rome and not politicize this in any way. This is just a situation, unfortunately, that exists because of the way the criminal justice system is operating today.
Yeah, I feel like remember, every penny that a police department pays, whether it's Rome's police department or Syracuse's, that it has to be accounted for. You just can't say, hey, we feel bad for this guy, we're going to pay. Is it possible that a police union could do something like that? That certainly would be possible.
Right.
But not a police force. It would be you'd be misappropriating even $700. You'd be misappropriating funds there.
Also, you have a situation where, to be honest with you, trying to look at this objectively, if you have a police department paying the costs of again, I don't doubt this story at all, but you have a police department paying for and almost seemingly advocating on behalf of a potential victim. It seems like there's a little, right? They should be looking at this objectively, not paying out-of-pocket expenses for someone who's a victim, even though that hasn't been proven yet. And again, I don't doubt it, but, you know.
By the way, Joe, we have Joe Joseph, who just added $20 to the mix. So we are now at $140 towards his $700.
Yeah, I think that we should commend both law enforcement agencies because they actually got the job done. They were able to apprehend the perpetrator in this particular case.
All right.
Well, thank you to Joe Joseph. We have another Joe chiming in here just to say, keep in mind, $700 might not be the total bill. If the towing company has the vehicle there, there could be storage charges added to it. Do we know that that's the final amount, the $700?
It is my understanding that it was going to take them $700 to get the vehicle released.
The storage charges would go to the municipality, I would imagine, unless it's in their whatever. I would imagine it's in a police storage place. But the transportation to be able to get it back, he was told he's got to pay $700. So, okay, Joe, thank you. We appreciate the update on this. I appreciate it. And by the way, I do want to do a shout out, if we could, to a couple of places in Rome. We were at Franca's in Rome over the weekend. There was supposed to be a big block party, but the rain just came down, Showtime was going to be playing. It was going to be this big event.
Oh.
And the rain, it just poured and poured. And it was cold and it rained. But before that, we were at a really cool place, Joe, and you know these guys, Sugar Beets. That was really, really good. The food was awesome there.
Outstanding food and great service. They do a good job there.
Yep, no doubt about it.
Franca's is the wine place, right?
Franca's, yeah. And they had music there, and that was kind of it's a little outdoors. The garage door was open, and unfortunately, the rain was just coming down. But that, if you're looking for a great place to eat, that Sugar Beets was really good. Okay, Joe, thank you.
All right. Good talking to you guys.
All right,
Take care.
safe travels. Thanks, Joe.
And good luck.
Yeah, thank you. We're at $140 right now. Davey, you'll keep track of this for me, all right?
Yeah, Neil just called, and he's going to swing by and drop off $25.
All right.
Thank you, Neil.
We're 165 we're at right now. So let's keep it rolling. You know, listen, if you give up $25, you'll spend that in a million different places, right? So maybe it goes towards on gas. Davey rolls his eyes. Maybe it goes towards helping this guy out.
And stay with us because I'm actually going to make a purchase online here. I've given $20 to this cause, and I'm going to give some more money. Stay tuned. I'll fill you in on the details.
I
But
did
another
the
ask.
I did the
coming up.
same thing on the shoes, the sneakers. Let's. I did it on Friday. We'll talk about that coming up too. Got a break. News is next.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
There are power lines down and roads underwater. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. People in Los Angeles and Ventura counties in California are told to stay home because of flash flooding from what was Tropical Storm Hillary. Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz says the downgrade doesn't mean the danger's over.
Really, that only means that we lost 5 miles an hour of wind speed. So it was 40-mile-an-hour wind speed. Now it's down to 35-mile-an-hour wind speed. All that moisture that's been dropping across California and Nevada, that is still with this system. So it's still going to cause plenty of flooding. The worst of it has been across Southern California. Some of our wind totals across the desert Southwest, we see them ranging from 85 miles an hour all the way down to 65 miles an hour. For some of the peak wind speeds we've seen, that's obviously enough to do some damage. On top of that, rain has been the really big story. Plenty of spots getting up over 6 inches of rain, and in these mountainous areas, that is obviously enough to cause some flooding as all of that water is rushing downstream.
The storm is expected to move north through California and break up over Nevada later today, dropping a lot of rain along the way. President Biden gets a first-hand look at wildfire damage in Hawaii today.
The president and first lady will meet with survivors, first responders, and emergency personnel during a day trip to Maui. President Biden will also get briefings from state and federal agencies. As of this weekend, more than 1,000 federal personnel are on the ground, including 450 search and rescue team members. The administration has approved $7 million in federal assistance. And FEMA is providing 50,000 meals and 75,000 liters of water. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
3 children left home alone in Brooklyn, New York are in critical condition. There was a fire in their 11th floor apartment. New York City Fire Chief John Hodgson says the cause is under investigation.
Our members had to force the door open, crawl in. They found 2 of the children in the living room, and 1 they found right behind the door. They were all unconscious.
Kids are 4, 5, and 8 years old. Their father is charged with child abandonment and endangerment. Another fire at the same time, 5 miles away, destroyed several businesses. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Who is there for the families left behind when a service member or first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty? Who helps our nation's homeless veterans? And who helps our nation keep its vow to never forget 9/11? The Tunnel to Towers Foundation. More than 95 cents of every dollar you donate to Tunnel to Towers goes to its programs. This charity keeps its word. Honor our nation's greatest heroes. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
We have mostly cloudy skies, 66 degrees. WIBX News Time 7:03. This news update is brought to you by Home and Hospital Medical Supplies and Service, carrying a wide selection of home medical equipment. You can call them at 315-724-6767. and online at h&hmedicalny.com. Syracuse police investigating after a man was shot dead early morning in Armory Square. Officers were in the square when they heard gunshots on South Clinton Street just after midnight yesterday. The officers found a man who had been shot multiple times. They provided medical care until an ambulance arrived. However, the victim was later pronounced dead in the emergency room. The victim's name not yet released. The investigation into that incident is ongoing. Meanwhile, the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office is investigating after firearms were stolen from the home of two Syracuse police officers. Now, this happened last month. Officers Nika Pascarella and Emily Pascarella were on vacation. Police say they hid 3 guns in a bedroom closet of their home. A relative was house-sitting when a 15-year-old nephew then found the firearms in an unlocked case and snuck them out of the house. The guns were not reported missing until a week later. The sheriff's office is trying to track them down, but it has proven difficult as the guns have been passed off multiple times. So far, just one weapon has been recovered, but not the one issued by the Syracuse Police Department. SUNY Cobleskill holding a job fair today and tomorrow. The school is offering positions for cooks, food handlers, and utility workers. Full and part-time slots are available. More information online at SUNY Cobleskill. A former bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese has passed away. Howard Hubbard died yesterday of a stroke at the age of 84. He was known for his activism and outspoken advocacy for peace, social justice, care for the poor, and friendship with other faiths. Hubbard was born in Troy and grew up in Lansingburg. Officials say he took pride in praying with over 400,000 Catholics from the diocese over the term of his career. WIBX News Time coming up on 7:06. Your Weather Center forecast calling for a mostly cloudy day today. However, we are expected to stay dry. Cloudy skies throughout the afternoon, not much sunshine expected, looking at a high of 78 degrees. Overnight tonight, clouds stick with us and will be much cooler, below a low of 51. That's great sleeping weather, but colder than we're used to so far this summer. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high reaching 77. Another great day on Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 78. Thursday, rain showers in the forecast and a high of 72. Right now, cloudy and 66. WIBX News Time is 7:06. All right, in sports, I'll rip the Band-Aid off. 8 straight losses for the Yankees. That's the worst they've done in almost 3 decades. Their losing streak is as large as it's been in 28 seasons. They were swept over the weekend by the Boston Red Sox, as Smitty gives me the wave off there. Yesterday, Kyle Higashioka, Gleyber Torres, and Anthony Volpe all homered, but the Yankees came up a run short, 6-5, as they lost to the Red Sox. They're now 60-64 on the season, and believe it or not, the Yankees have tumbled to 9 games out of a wild card spot. They're actually in a worse position than the Mets are. The Mets, meanwhile, looking for a 4-game sweep on Sunday. They came up short. 7-3 was the final. The Mets did take 3 of 4. They've won 6 of their last 8. It might be too little too late, but the Mets are 7 games out of a wild card spot. Pete Alonso had his 39th home run of the season. He has been red hot lately. Mets are 58-67. They visit the Atlanta Braves to start a 3-game series tonight at Truist Park. The Yankees, meanwhile, are off today. They begin a series in the Bronx against the Washington Nationals tomorrow night. The U.S. men's basketball team finished their exhibition schedule with a 99-91 win over Germany. Anthony Edwards led all players with 34 points. The U.S. men will open up World Cup play on Saturday in the Philippines when they take on New Zealand. William Byron celebrates his 5th NASCAR Cup Series victory this season. He won at Watkins Glen, the Go Bowling at the Glen. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, A.J. Allmendinger, and Tyler Gibbs rounded out the top 5. Byron already clinched a playoff berth, which means that Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick have now locked in playoff spots. The field heads to Daytona next weekend for the Coke Zero Sugar 400. It is the last race of the regular season before the 10-race chase begins in NASCAR. Some preseason football news. The Giants cut cornerback Rodarius Williams. The 26-year-old did not play in the team's 21-19 win over the Carolina Panthers on Friday night. And a report out of the Jets camp is that Aaron Rodgers will be making his debut for the Jets later this week. He is expected to start in Saturday's preseason finale against the New York Giants. Buffalo Bills were in action this weekend. We'll get a report on this from Bill. You didn't like it at all.
It was terrible. It was they played very poorly. Josh Allen looked good, but Davey, everything around him looked horrible. And there were a lot of penalties. This team looked really bad.
Yeah, like I said, I only see the first 3 possessions of the first quarter because I was away, and I watched it and turned it off.
Okay.
And I want to remind everybody about our Kicks for Kids promotion. We're holding a sneaker drive where you can help make a difference in the life of a youngster in our community. You just have to head to our website, WIBX950.com. We are partnering with Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield for this first annual Kicks for Kids sneaker-a-thon. We should say the inaugural because there's no such thing as first annual. I'm getting emails now as I mention that. Just browse through the wish list of children's shoes and you can purchase a pair. We make it easy. You don't have to go to the store. You don't have to pick out a style.
I love this. I think
color.
this is really, I'll tell you a little story about this when you're done.
The Amazon will deliver the shoes to the neighborhood center. They're another partner with us, and the neighborhood center is going to make sure that they get on the feet of local kids who need them. With the new school year just around the corner, literally, it's important every child has the bare necessities. We don't want kids getting picked on at school because they come with dirty sneakers or sneakers from last year. Unfortunately, this is stuff you remember. This stuff goes on in school. So, and these aren't the Air Force Ones. These aren't the latest Jordans. They're not the Yeezys, nothing like that. You're looking at like $25, $30, $35 for these sneakers. I'm actually on Amazon right now.
In some cases, they were there was. I saw one pair for $16. There was another.
Yeah.
So they're brand new sneakers that you can get. There's a goal. We already have places for these sneakers to go. These are kids. Their families have already signed up, so they're in need. And school starts in just a week and a half.
And I want to encourage people, when you go to our website, again, Kicks for Kids, it'll take you to the Amazon list. And when you click on it, there's a list of sneakers. Bill mentioned some of the prices on them. Certain shoes, certain sneakers will have, it'll say view details. So I click on this one. It says the Adidas Unisex Child Duramo 10s, the running shoes, and it says 4 pairs still needed. So you just click. You see the buying option. I'm clicking on it right now. This particular pair is $34.99. Big kid, it takes it right out for you. And any of the decision making or confusion you might have, the big kid shoes for 8 to 12-year-olds.
If you already have an Amazon account, it just automatically does how you would normally. But you have to click on delivery. The delivery would be the Town Square Kid Drive, whatever it's called.
Yeah. So I'm doing this right now. I've actually got to run out and get my. I think I just put my wallet in the car. I got to run out and get that. But we would encourage you, please, out of the kindness in your heart, if you could. Again, these are not outrageously overpriced or expensive sneakers. They're very affordable. And you'll help a local student get off on the right foot, if you will.
Last night, we're sitting down, we're watching TV, and my wife said, "Oh, my God, our Amazon account has been hacked." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Apparently, somebody hacked in. They bought 4 pairs of sneakers, kids' sneakers. You got to shut everything down. Shut it down." And I said, "No, that was me the other night. I thought it was a good thing to do."
Oh, very nice of you, Bill.
Go on there. You can buy one. You could buy a pair, a couple of them, couple pairs. You could do whatever you're willing to do. And it's a great program that's operating right now, along with Excellus Blue Cross and WIBX.
Yep, right on our website, Kicks for Kids.
I want to get an update, if we could, on the wildfires and the recovery efforts in Hawaii, which is just continues.
I would never wish this, but can they get pummeled with the hurricane and just soak everything?
Continues to get worse and worse. Tanya Powers, good morning.
Good morning.
The numbers are what I think that, there's still so many people unaccounted for. At some point, sadly, those numbers are many of them are most likely going to turn into people who perished in those wildfires. Yeah. But the recovery efforts continue here Monday morning.
Yes, you are correct. The toll now stands at 114 deaths at least. That makes it one of the worst natural disasters in the history of Hawaii. It is, hard to get your head around, especially when the governor has cautioned that number could go up significantly. There are dozens of people also injured. I think there hasn't been a lot spoken about that. I don't think about the fact that a lot of people are critically injured from these wildfires as well. There are still a lot of people missing, as you said, unaccounted for. I think the governor has said there's more than 1,000 people unaccounted for, and that it could take weeks to identify the remains. He said he was on Face the Nation yesterday, and matter of fact, I'm working on a story on this right now, and it's part of what he was saying was that they're about 85% done with being able to get through there as far as covering the devastation, the square footage. He said they're going into the larger buildings now. He said that requires even more of a painstaking effort. They've got to peel back some of the floors and the structures. He said the last 15% of this search could take weeks. So he's trying to get people to understand just how painstaking this is and how slow that they have to go with all of this. The president is expected to be there today. He's going to be joined by the First Lady. They're going to Maui to take in inspect the damage. He's also going to be meeting with survivors of the fires, emergency workers, state and local officials, folks like that. So that's actually happening today as well.
It is just it's horrible to look at. We've also heard that the sirens, which didn't go off, now with reports from the end of last week, they were talking about the fact that those sirens really are trained for a tsunami. People are trained that a tsunami is coming. They would have then gone inland, which would have been into the fires. So it seems like they didn't have anything in place to be able to warn people of these wildfires.
Well, the governor talked about that yesterday, I believe, on Face the Nation as well. And he reacted to the fact that the emergency management administrator, Herman Hadaya, had stood by not activating the sirens. He said, as you mentioned, they're usually used for warning of tsunamis, and when the public is basically trained to go away from the water, not toward it.
Yep.
And in this particular case, had they gone toward the town or toward the mountain, as he said, that they would have been sent directly into the path of harm instead of away from it. And the governor basically he said, do I wish those sirens went off? Of course I do. He said, I think the answer that the emergency administrator from Maui was, of course, utterly unsatisfactory to the world. He said, but it is the case that we've historically not used those kinds of warnings for fires. And I know the first part of that sentence is getting a lot of headlines. The utterly unsatisfactory to the world part, there is a second part of that sentence. I just want to point out that he said that, historically they have not been used for that. But the state's website has a number of, different things that sirens can be used for. I think, in this case, this is what the administrator was saying is, when people hear this, they're not going to run toward the water.
Yeah, I know, especially when you're looking at smoke, right? You would see the smoke, and I can't imagine people would want to run towards the smoke. You probably could put two and two together, that the sirens are going off. We're seeing wildfires, that they are going off because of the wildfires. But, it's very difficult because now all the fingers are being pointed and people are trying to defend themselves. And it's just this is the other part of the aftermath that is not pleasant in any way, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions. There's still a lot of questions about the cause of the fire. A lot of finger pointing back and forth, like you said. But meanwhile, the search for remains continues, and it will continue for quite some time.
All right, Tanya. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Tanya. J. Powers from Fox News. Over the weekend, also, is that hurricane was heading into California. Did you see Southern California also had an earthquake? And I'll have something locally about that as well. But not only is Southern California dealing with Tropical Storm Hillary, but a 5.1 magnitude earthquake in Ventura County, which was felt across many parts of the state. They're now calling it forecasters are calling it, because everything has to have a name, right? They're calling it a hurricane. It seems ridiculous. But here's the audio from a small restaurant getting hit with an earthquake while they were trying to evacuate the building. Here is audio.
Jeez.
Yeah, so you're dealing with the fear of the hurricane, and then all of a sudden you get hit with a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. Wow. And then I don't know if anybody else felt this, but I've been looking it up, and I don't see necessarily anything that's out there. But we had reports over the weekend of people saying they felt, I believe it was Saturday night, that they felt a little rumble of an earthquake here in upstate New York. And if you know anything about that, you can certainly give Davey a call, 315-736-0186. Yes, Andrew, that's just like a Sharknado. Very similar, like a Sharknado. The other thing is we told you about a guy that had his car stolen 3 months ago. And because it's considered evidence, he's not been able to get his car back. They worked through Senator Griffo's office. We spoke with Joe this morning. They finally have cleared the way. The DA signed off because it's evidence. The DA has signed off where the car ended up in Syracuse. The guy from Rome is going to be able to get his vehicle back. The problem is he can have it back, but in order to get it back, the guy who had his car stolen has to pay $700 to get it back. There's some legal red tape thing. He's got to pay $700 to get it back. So we thought maybe we could do a little collection for him as we go through the end of the summer here. And I had collected over the weekend $100. Manansky gave $20. Joe Joseph just gave $20. Neil said he's given $25.
I just met Neil in the parking lot.
Neil just gave
That's who I met? Yeah.
Neil just gave his 20. Neil, thank you.
So here's the 25. Let me put that over
Throw
here.
it right there.
So let me also say, Neil has found the Fountain of Youth at some point along the way. I just met him out in the parking lot. He goes, guess my age. And I think I guess 51. He's 70-something.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, what's your secret? You want to know what he said? He said, a long time ago, I had a doctor who told me, stop chasing women and stop drinking booze. So I changed doctors.
I believe it's Neil's sense of humor that keeps him. That's his fountain of youth.
I'm sure it helps. And one more update here.
If you'd like to give towards the guy who had his car stolen, we're trying to raise the $700 this morning. We're at we're at 165 right now. Give Davey a call and pledge the money. Whatever you can, 315-736-0186. And then there's the sneaker drive, which is...
Carol says if the DA requires the return of the car, they should pay the $700, especially since there's a possibility the thief will not appear for prosecution. That's just an opinion I'm sharing via the app.
That means the taxpayers have to come up with it. And all I can tell you is, according to Griffo's office, no municipality is feeling they can pay it. It is up to this guy, and it's the only way he's going to be able to get it back.
And I want to say thank you.
Should be versus what is are two different things, unfortunately, in this story.
I want to say thank you and good morning to Debbie in Rome. She said, I just purchased a pair of sneakers.
Thank
That's
you,
a great
Debbie.
program. And I'm actually putting my card information in right now. I am also purchasing a pair of sneakers.
All right.
So I'm sarcastic this morning, but I am feeling a little generous. That's a dangerous combination.
It is. Boy, that could go so many different ways. Okay, Mike says, remember a number of years ago, they had inadvertently set off the Hawaiian sirens for a nuclear attack. I do remember that. And then seems like you could have a siren system with different amounts of siren sounds for different threats. I completely agree with that. I don't understand why they don't have that. Then again, around here, if a siren were to go off, and maybe they don't have the cell phone technology, although a lot of the wires had come down because of the high winds. But here we get alerted, scares the daylights out of you, right?
Yeah, you're like, what are we doing?
Your cell phone. You could be in the mall, and all of a sudden everybody's cell phone is going off at the same time, and you're getting a warning. So you would think that we have the technology today to have warned people of these fires.
Can I also make a suggestion? And again, this is another layer of that alert system. But, you know, you see this on social media. I can't keep up with this, but we had talked about this a couple weeks ago. A blue heart means one thing. You put up a heart. You can't put a red heart because that means love, and that's only your friends. So you use a blue heart or a pink heart or a yellow heart. They got black hearts and red hearts, all these different hearts. To my knowledge, every alert that we get, whether it's a missing child or a major storm or a tornado watch or you name it, it all has the same sound. We should I almost feel like there should be
for us,
different
it's
notification sounds.
The EAS alert
Yeah.
that goes off, which is supposed to be standard around the country.
But right, like if you get a missing child alert that's in
Mhm.
your community, it's the same noise as a tornado watch, right?
Yeah, it goes up
on your phone.
It goes up on billboards, on road signs, and all the electronic stuff, and you get it on your phone.
I just wonder if we should have a different notification, a different sound, a different type of alert for whether it's a storm, a missing child, and ask from the police, a road closure. Like you might be on the thruway and you get some type of a notification that says there was just an accident ahead. Prepare to slow down because traffic is backed up, etc. I don't know.
We want to thank this morning Tim Reed, who's out there listening. Tim Reed, of course, my partner with Real Men Get Tested, and of course the former president of the Boilermaker. Tim Reed has just given $100 towards the guy with the car.
Where's my bell?
How about that? So we are now at.
You're the man, Tim.
$265. So we're making our way there.
Yes.
Towards $700 that we'll give to this guy. His name is Joe Storms. He's from Rome, and he had his car stolen. He hasn't had it in 3 months. Let's get him his car back this morning. You can call Davey if you'd like to give. Let's raise this money. That would be pretty darn cool. Davey?
And Joe called up earlier. He's going to drop off $25 a little later.
Okay.
thank
Is that
you,
Joe
Joe.
Joseph? Oh, that's a different Joe.
Different Joe.
The other Joe's
Joe. Okay.
He's down south, right? The other Joe.
No, I think he comes up for the winter time.
okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Joe Joseph will tell you don't want to be in Florida right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot down there. Let me tell you about concrete. If you need concrete work done as you're nearing the end of the summer, there's nobody better to call than Brank Construction. They know concrete. Masonry work, concrete work, stairways, cellarway entrances, basement floors, garage floors, maybe a foundation repair, stone walls, chimney repair, retaining walls, driveways, and sidewalks. If it's concrete, they have you covered. Call them today at 315-894-3481, 315-894-3481 for Brank Construction.
Hi, this is Rob Hilton of Hilton Estate and Elder Law with important information for families that have disabled children to protect the child and to ensure your future wishes are met. So if you have a disabled child, you need to provide them with what's called a special needs trust. This trust allows them to receive an inheritance from you, but also allows them to keep any governmental benefits that they are receiving. It is critically important that if they have an inheritance coming, that they not lose their benefits. Unmarried couples should be aware of important steps they need to take with their estate planning. If a partner dies and does not leave a will, the surviving partner will not likely receive any of the assets from the deceased partner. This can create a lot of problems in the future and must be resolved utilizing a will or a trust. To find out more about strategies to protect your loved ones through proper estate planning, contact us at Hilton Estate and Elder Law. Call for more information and to schedule an in-person meeting to answer your questions.
Hilton, you know the name, they know the law. Hilton Estate and Elder Law.
Do you feel like your current checking account just isn't working for you anymore? Maybe monthly fees are cutting into your already tight budget. Or maybe you're looking for more convenience with additional bells and whistles that allow you to accomplish more with less work. Whatever your reason, it might be a great time for you to check out the lineup of accounts at Adirondack Bank. From no-frills basic accounts to paperless high-yield accounts, we're sure to have the perfect solution for your needs. We also offer a large selection of extras such as customizable debit cards, electronic statements, online banking and bill pay, mobile banking, and mobile deposit. We also have a great client services team ready to answer your questions with our live chat. Visit our website at www.adkbank.com. Use the checking comparison tool and see which options are best for you. That's adkbank.com. Member FDIC.
Honey, I'm going to Kinney.
Oh, could you get a big bag of M&Ms?
What the? Okay.
What is this?
A big bag of enemas.
OMG, M&Ms, like the candy.
Oh.
Hey, we've all been there, right? Share your misheard moment at KinneyHearing.com and be entered to win a free pair of Lucid hearing aids valued at $1,000 from Kinney Drugs. You heard that right, KinneyHearing.com.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
Hey, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients right now. The Falcon Clinic is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic, and they're accepting new patients as we speak. If you're looking for a new family doctor, or if you have an issue, here's a good example. We know someone who is recently came down with shingles. They're dealing with incredible nerve pain with shingles. Dr. Shemaleski, with the osteopathic approach, is able to treat shingles pain, the pain that occurs weeks after the shingles have gone away. Nerve pain that is just excruciating. There's help out there, and you can reach out to the Falcon Clinic for that assistance. Dr. Shemaleski, Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Kosminski, all under one roof at the Falcon Clinic. Call today, 315-507-4751. The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills.
Hi, it's Jordan from Little Falls Lumber. Summer is a great time to freshen up the look of your home, and we have you covered. We stock a variety of name brand products from GAF shingles, LP vinyl siding, Sierra Pacific windows, to Moisture Shield composite decking, and premium grade pressure treated decking. We have options to fit any budget. Stop by one of our 3 convenient locations, Little Falls, Syracuse, and Schenectady, to see what we have in store, or visit us at littlefallslumber.com.
Mostly cloudy skies, 66 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:30. This news update is brought to you by Cliffs Local Market. They keep you going. The National Hurricane Center has downgraded what had been Tropical Storm Hillary to a post-tropical cyclone as it brings heavy rainfall to the southwest. At last check, Hillary's maximum sustained winds had fallen to 35 miles per hour. The storm system is on the move several hundred miles north of San Diego, passing through central Nevada at roughly 29 miles per hour. 13 people alive after the San Diego Fire Rescue Department swift water crew saved their lives from fast-moving waters from the San Diego River. They were part of a homeless encampment in a dry riverbed that quickly filled up as tropical storm waters from Hillary moved through that region last night. 2 people were treated for hypothermia. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden are set to visit Hawaii today. They will meet with first responders and survivors and tour areas impacted by recent wildfires that have killed at least 114 people. Officials estimate roughly 1,000 more could still be unaccounted for. The blaze that tore through the town of Lahaina on the island of Maui is the deadliest wildfire in modern U.S. history. Former Vice President Mike Pence hopes his former boss will be at Wednesday's Republican presidential debate. Speaking on ABC's This Week, Pence said serving with former President Trump for 4 years has taught him it's not over till it's over. Trump reportedly plans to skip the debate and instead join former Fox News host Tucker Carlson for an interview on the day of the debate. Elon Musk says X users will no longer be able to block accounts except for private messages. The owner of the social media platform formerly called Twitter posted on Friday that he was eliminating the safety feature. He did not give a reason, but did note that the mute function will continue to be available. And a superhero is replacing a doll at the top of the box office. Blue Beetle ended the 4-week reign of Barbie, but not by much. The DC superhero film debuted with an estimated $25 million, while Barbie took home an estimated $21 million for the 5th week of its release. Both films are distributed by Warner Brothers. WIBX News Time 7:33. Up next, we'll chat with Assemblyman Brian Miller on a couple of issues, one of them being Vernon Downs. Stay tuned for that. Your Weather Center forecast from Eyewitness News. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies today and a high reaching 78 degrees. Mostly cloudy, but we are expected to stay dry today. Overnight tonight, clouds stick with us. We cool off into the lower 50s. Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, a high of 77. Wednesday, 77 degrees and mostly sunny skies. Looking at rain showers expected on Thursday and a high only of 71, Bill. Right now, cloudy and 66 at 7:34.
You know, we had a little of that cool weather on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was tough to get out of the 60s on Saturday. Craziness. Brian Miller, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How is everyone
Good.
today?
We're going to chat with you in a second. Let's do our free money question first, though, from the Hobeika Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika. Davey, this morning you were at $100, and I have a great C-note question for you. You're looking for caller number which one this morning?
Caller number 6.
Sixth caller through the lines. This is totally a doable one. Caller number 6 right now at 315-736-0186. Hobeika's free money question is next. Caller 6 right now at WIBX.
Home and Hospital Medical Supply and the New Hartford Shopping Center proudly carries a wide selection of home medical equipment. Lift chairs to buy or rent, canes, crutches, walkers, powered scooters, braces, foot care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them 315-724-6767 and online at hnhmedicalny.com. Home and Hospital Medical Supplies, we make life easier.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Adirondack Home Furniture is the area's go-to store for top-quality, durable, American-made pieces for any room. And all month long, Adirondack Home Furniture is having a summer sale event on select floor pieces. Stop in and check out their hot summer buys all month long through Labor Day weekend. Lowest prices of the season on all Flex Steel and Smith Brothers upholstery. Are you looking for a better night's sleep? Then check out their selection of Restonic mattresses or their private label fillable mattress line. Once you select the perfect piece for your space, they can deliver it locally free of charge, or you can pick it up from their showroom. So stop into Adirondack Home Furniture today for their summer sales event and save big on select floor pieces and take what you love home today. Adirondack Home Furniture in Riverside Center, Utica. Give them a call at 315-738-7817 or visit AdirondackHomeFurniture.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, it's 7:36, and Gary is on in Rome right now. Gary, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Good. We're going to give you a shot at winning Hobeika's free money question of the day. It's worth $100 this morning. And this week, let's close out the summer with a big winner. I'd like to. And let's start with $100. So you'll have 7 seconds, as you know, to answer. Are we ready to go? Everybody's good? All right, here we go. Here's your question. Beechnut Foods, which produces baby food today, closed their plant in Canajoharie after 118 years of existence back in 2009. Where did they move their operation? Ready, go.
Oh, North Carolina.
Don't think too far. Anybody, you know the answer to this one? I was really surprised at the answer to this one. I know Brian Miller knows it. Davey, no idea. Brian Miller, the answer is?
Moved to Florida.
They did not.
New York.
They moved to Amsterdam, New York.
Wow, they didn't move far at all.
No, they didn't move far at all. Why, do you think there's...
He's saying Florida, New York.
Florida, New York. I believe that's where the little town they moved into.
Well, their corporate headquarters is Amsterdam.
Okay, I'm talking about manufacturing.
It is Amsterdam, New York. So which I had thought Mexico immediately. I thought that would be
My guess was somewhere in Mexico.
Far, far away, but it turns out they stayed in upstate New York. So
Never knew that.
Yeah. One of the little things that I grab over the weekend, one of the things that means nothing, really. I guess unless you live in Florida, New York, or Amsterdam, it means an awful lot. We will give you the all-in-one, Utica all-in-one food and fun card, $25 gift card from Aquavino, Babes, Taylor and the Cook, 72 Tavern and Grill, the concession stands at Nexus in the Adirondack Bank Center. Stand by, Gary. Davey's going to hook you up.
Thanks, Bill. Great show.
Man. Thank you so much.
Not that we doubted the Assemblyman, but I just checked, and he's correct. They have a 650,000 square foot infant food production facility located in the town of Florida, New York, in Montgomery County.
Okay.
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. And feel free to look and see where their corporate headquarters is.
Oh, no, you are correct.
Well.
It's also it's in Amsterdam.
Yeah. But the initial, it was very hard for I knew a lot of people who worked at that plant in Canajoharie, and I mean that I don't think sometimes we forget how large these corporations were, and really still are. But the fact that they stayed in upstate New York is a positive.
Oh, absolutely.
But really, they wanted to walk away from that ancient facility that had been started back in the 1800s and built bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. I also didn't know that they didn't start doing baby food until the 1930s. Prior to that, it was the candy and gum, and they also were big into peanut butter before Jif and all those big peanut butter places. You can tell I was watching the History Channel over the weekend.
Yes, you were.
How foods are right, foods made in America or whatever the thing is. That show will get you. And then just as you're ready to walk away from it, it starts again, and it's a whole new story about whatever, and you have a hard time walking away. I believe that's by design. In studio this morning is Assemblyman Brian Miller. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
So, we're talking about this story of the guy in Rome who has his car stolen, and that was 3 months ago. Was it two or 3 months ago? I believe it's been 3 months now.
Is what he said, yeah.
Has his car stolen. They finally track it down. He's from Rome. They finally track it down in Syracuse. But because of what they were doing inside the vehicle, drugs or whatever, the alleged, it's now evidence, so they can't give the car back. So he works through his local, I believe he went to Griffo's office in this case, and they finally were able to make arrangements where authorities would give up the vehicle, even though it was evidence. And the DA, Scott McNamara, signed off on it. He can get his vehicle back. But because it's evidence, they can't just release the vehicle in Syracuse. They need to transport it back and officially give it back to Rome PD, who will then give it to this guy. His name is Joe Storms. And in order to get the vehicle back, they're charging him $700. Syracuse won't ship it until $700 is paid. How is it that the victim, and meanwhile, where do you think the criminals are? The people charged in this crime, most likely they're
probably gone.
They're gone because of bail reform. Yeah. They've been released. Meanwhile, this guy hasn't had a car in 3 months. He can't get his car back, and he has to pay $700. He's the victim.
Well, unfortunately, this is the way a lot of our laws work. I understand it, and it's
we don't understand
just
it,
one
but
of these
we do.
things.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the gentleman, but the car was picked up in Syracuse. It has to be transported back here to Utica.
Well, they could change it. So there may be some legislation coming where they could change the law where they'd be able to release it to him and not have to transport it back.
Well, that'd be the best thing.
That would be because he gets a ride to Syracuse.
He can go to Syracuse, pick his car
gets
up.
$20 in gas in the vehicle. He's got the vehicle.
Why is that not an option?
Because it's evidence. I don't know. It's
That's
the law.
I'm so confused though because
technicality in the law. It's ridiculous.
It gets transported here, and it's still evidence. Once he gets in it, it's still evidence.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm more than happy though to contribute my $20 to the cause. We are getting some mixed reviews though via the app. People
I'd like to hear that. We are, by the way, at $290 for this guy.
Awesome.
Well, my question is, how could there be mixed reviews What did this guy do?
No. They're not knocking this guy.
Okay, he did nothing wrong. He had his car stolen.
Well, we heard from Carol earlier, who said that she felt like the DA's office should be responsible for the $700. Big Honey says people get their cars stolen every day, and I've never heard of a radio station trying to raise money for them. If this guy is such a hard worker and a go-getter, why doesn't he have $700 available to him? I guess I'm looking for more of the backstory on the victim. We're not getting into that.
My point is, he should have to pay $700 to get his stolen vehicle back? That just is ridiculous.
Conversely, I also don't think that the tow company should have to work for free. So it is what it is. Look, if you don't want to give, I mean, nobody's twisting your arm. We're just letting you know about this story.
I gave.
Yeah,
Jeff
and I
gave.
gave. Yeah. I also bought those sneakers today, too.
I did that,
He
too.
should be able to pick up his car in Syracuse.
He should be
able to. That's the best solution.
Exactly right.
There's no cost to whatever.
How is it that there's a law that prevents him from picking up that vehicle in Syracuse because it's evidence? That is just ridiculous.
Well, you guys have been down to Albany, and you've seen most of our laws. There's always chapter amendments to them every year.
Yeah.
And this will probably, who knows, there may be a chapter amendment to this.
What I also find interesting is we have to remember when you say, well, the city of Rome should pay for it, the DA's office should pay for it, Syracuse, you're saying that's, we look at these like as if they are other entities. The DA's office, if you live in Oneida County, that's you.
Well,
right?
You're absolutely right. It comes out of the same
coming
pocket.
out of our pocket.
It comes out of the taxpayer dollar.
Right. That's taxpayer money.
But look, I was a little sour this morning, but second only to Big Honey. He says, so if the guy needs brakes in a few months, we're going to raise money for that too? No.
Well,
he was the victim of a crime, and he's being charged $700.
Yeah.
Not normal wear and tear on his own vehicle.
Davey,
he was the victim of a crime, and it's costing him money. That's the point.
Big Honey, you and I are normally on the same page here. Well, maybe not, but sometimes.
At least the same
I'm
book.
not with you on this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The guy
again,
is
if you don't want it, don't. Nobody's saying you have to.
It is a typical situation where he has been violated, and we're going to make him pay. I don't understand that. Sorry. Because insurance won't pay for him to be able to do this. Like if somebody's house is broken into and damage is caused, they can turn that into their homeowner's insurance. This guy's just screwed. Not everybody has $700 to be able to throw around. Brian,
well,
we're
great way to start.
We're a very giving show this morning, and apparently we're pessimistic as well. Depends on where. It's Monday. Maybe this shouldn't even have been brought up on a Monday.
Started early.
End of summer. The weather hasn't been nice, although yesterday was kind of beautiful once it got going. The rest of the week, we're not, we should be feeling pretty good about 70s, mid-70s in August, while, other parts of the country are dealing with 90s and temperatures over 100 degrees. We should be feeling pretty good at this point.
So the last time I saw you, we were at a press conference outside of Shenatchery's, and the issue there being that there's a couple of repeat offenders, if you will, who know that if they were to walk in and stuff their trench coat or their cart with $700, $800,
this is another great story.
$700, $800 in steaks and chickens and frozen foods and all this stuff from a grocery store, they get charged with a misdemeanor. So they start marching out, and it's a major issue. Some of the.
And by the way, they specifically steal just under.
They know what the threshold is.
Because if you go over $1,000 in value, all of a sudden it turns into a felony.
Yeah. So there's some bigger box type stores who say, you know what, we're going to write this off at the end of the year. But you're at Shenatchery's, which is a mom and pop.
It's a local store, and
that's coming right out of his pocket.
This just isn't happening at the grocery stores. It's happening at all of our brick and mortar stores.
Around the country, it's unbelievable.
Last week, we some stores out in Los Angeles, they walked out with $100,000.
Yeah,
walked out the door, and again, we're like talking about the car.
I love the one at the Alta was the perfume store locally where it happened locally. And at one point, it almost looked like one of the guys going out looked at the security camera and smiled. Yeah. Like, look what I can do. Yeah. This is unbelievable.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts to this. One, we got these organized shoplifters going in there, and they're robbing from the merchants. Two, there's safety issues. A lot of the employees are younger. They're not kids, but younger adults,
right.
And who knows what these people are going to do?
Yeah.
So
it's a very odd. We have rules of society. So the rules of society are: if you're shoplifting, you're a single person, maybe two people and a baby. You see it happen all the time. You go in, you rip off some stuff, you make your way out. Now, you follow the rules of engagement. The rules are no more than 3. Any more than 3, that's on it. But imagine, for instance, look at your busy intersection. You have a stoplight. People, every once in a while, somebody runs a stoplight. The police go after them, they get ticketed. Imagine if everyone together one day said, I'm not going to obey this. Thousands of people decide we're not going to stop at the stoplight.
Well, is this the way society is going?
That's where we're going today.
Where we're going.
But
Shenatries, we were down there. There's a bill for a task force to be put together on how we're going to deal with this. And then, there's a timeline on the bill. We're talking about 2025. That's a year away. We really need to step this up. The governor hasn't signed it yet.
Passes bipartisan support.
Well, unanimously.
Yeah.
I thought the biggest obstacle would have been getting it through both houses, not the governor.
Well, that's the way it normally is. But now, it gets to the governor. Things get...
Why is it not being signed by the governor? We don't know.
I knew.
Yeah.
If we knew that, then...
Yeah.
We wouldn't be there, but, this is an issue. It has to be dealt with. Right now we got our local merchants dealing with internet sales in our brick and mortar stores going out. We could be looking at no more merchants on our main streets, and we're trying to bring back downtown and all our local little villages and and shops and our small employers. So
think of the number of people buying off Amazon and stuff that they used to buy locally, and now they're getting a little better price, but also the convenience of not leaving their home, and it's delivered right to their door.
Well, we've all seen this. I've been in stores where all of a sudden somebody just walks out with a shopping cart full of merchandise.
Yeah.
And the clerks just kind of look at them and what are they going to do?
What do we do?
Years ago, the store detective would have followed you to the car,
right. Tackle you,
grabbed you by the back of the collar, and if you were a kid, one bring you home to your parents, and that'd be punishment worse than death.
Now, unfortunately, you don't know if that person has a gun. The store doesn't want the liability for their employees, and all of a sudden, we're in a conundrum. What do we do?
We're coming off COVID. A lot of stores, a lot of merchants made it through through the COVID pandemic. We're looking at inflation that's really driving our economy right now.
Yeah.
So let's add loss to the merchants. Who's paying for that?
Right.
We
right.
are.
Yeah. John in Bridgewater. Hi, John. You're on. Brian Miller in studio as well. Good morning.
Hey, Bill. Good morning. Jeff, Dave.
Hey.
Hey, Mr. Assemblyman Brian Miller, I got a question for you. How about that poor guy that had his car stolen? Can't you use some of the money that Oneida County Drug Task Force, they collect on their, let's say they do a break, they raid somebody's house and they get all this drug money. Can't some of that money be maybe used for that?
That's a great question. Go ahead.
That's a good idea, John. There's places where the money can be used, and
right.
I don't know if it can be used for this. If it could be,
technicality.
Maybe they've already looked at that.
Right.
I don't know, and that could be an idea, and maybe the DA will look at that. I can't make that determination for that. And
I know some of the money goes towards training and whatnot, but there's it's a small amount of money. I'm sure they can come up with that drug money. So I'll let you guys go, and thanks for taking my call.
All right, John. Thanks,
John.
man.
Thank you.
You do wonder, and by the way, is the lottery money still going to schools? I kind of wonder about
Supposed to be.
Yeah. Every dollar in a dream you have, that's apparently helping school districts in the area. I hope that's still happening. What else are you concerned with? Are you hearing from people? Because this is your time to come home and chat with everybody.
Oh yeah, we're out throughout the district. Vernon Downs is still there. We we need to get this taken care of. There's a lot of employees there, and
That wasn't buttoned up at the end of session?
no, it was put through both houses, and then it's still on the governor's desk. We're still waiting for it. I know we've talked to the owner of Vernon Downs, and the governor said that she would sign it, but let's just get it signed. There's there's venues out there. There's wedding venues and whatever.
Yeah.
And these people are, still waiting. So here we go. We got the shop. We got the task force for the shoplifting issues, and we got Vernon Downs. The governor's got to step up and start signing some of these bills. And we're almost into September, and there's a lot of things still out there. Luckily the local bills are being signed and moved along. But there's still some of those out there.
So you really have the Vernon Downs situation is solved, at least for now, as long as the governor signs it.
That's where it is.
Okay.
We
all right.
had great bipartisan, and the contingent from the Mohawk Valley here, Mary Ann, Joe, myself, and we had some help from Donna Lapardo and Downstate on this. So it's this has really been a success story. Let's just get it through and get it done.
Get the governor to sign it. Kevin is on with a question for you. You're on with Assemblyman Brian Miller. Hi, Kevin. Good morning.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. I got a question for Brian and all the law makers. Why don't they just keep this person in jail until he pays a restitution of $700 so this guy can get his car back?
Well, I think that's a great solution, but the truth of the matter is he hasn't been convicted of anything yet. And do we want to make this guy wait, 14 months to get his vehicle back?
Well, there's got to be some way to do it, even if he hasn't been convicted. Obviously, he's been dealing in drugs, and he stole a car. He caught red-handed with a car. How can they say he's not guilty?
Well, I think that's a lot of, and I'll let Brian answer this, but I think that's a lot of the problem we're having with this bail reform. It is a lot of these people. It's allowing them to get right back out on the street to commit another crime.
Well, that's the bail reform. Has been, it's been a revolving door for us, and we want them. We want them. We want the person accused of the crime brought to justice on it. But at the end of the day, the easiest thing to do, we've talked about it, is just make it able for the person to pick the car up in Syracuse. That would solve everything.
That would solve the whole thing.
It's a pretty easy solution, but unfortunately, the way our laws work here in New York State and throughout the country, the common sense easy solution isn't always the one that gets legislated.
Kevin, good question. If you were running things, Kevin, this is the way things would be. It'd be logical. We'd look at things logically. Unfortunately, it's not that way right now.
I love it, though. Cut the criminal loose. We keep the car, though.
All right, Kevin, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks. By the way, Wayne says, tell Big Honey not to be such a Richard. Oh, okay. Ooh. All right. Tell them to sell the drugs found in the car to raise the money. That's another suggestion. Yeah, I don't think we can do that. Anything else that here we are. The Herkimer County Fair has ended. State Fair begins. Final week in 2 weeks of
State Fair is going to start.
Of the summer.
I hope everybody gets out to the State Fair. We'll be out there Dairy Day. There's a lot of farmers markets out there. Produce and all of our farmers' goods are at full swing right now. We got that. Fortunately, we're just back to some some monies that came through. Last week I was able to attend the press conference when the governor was here for the $14 million for shovel-ready site up at the Marcy Semiconductor
Which wasn't
site.
a big announcement we thought it was going to be, but it's important.
I know.
Anyway.
I was there, and I was like, okay, we got another chip fab coming in. But $14 million to get things moving, that puts us in the right direction.
A lot of things we can criticize about the state. Do you agree, though, that New York, and under two Democratic governors, again, while they do have their misgivings, they've done a good job with these chip fab semiconductors across the state of New York? We're kind of leading the way.
Oh, absolutely. The I-90 corridors, we're going to be the Silicon Valley of the I-90. That's the way it looks. We got a lot of natural resources here that the chip fabs need with water and that. And we've been very fortunate that, here in Oneida County, we're able to put a good team together to get full speed here. And, New York State's kicking in. We got Micron on the hook. and let's see where it goes.
I have somebody saying here, are we paying for New York City? This is one of the big misconceptions that are out there. New York City is saying the same thing, because really, without New York City, we'd be in big trouble up here financially.
Well,
we are not paying for New York City.
No, we're not paying for New York City, but
New York City is paying for us.
But
they're subsidizing our economies and our school districts up here.
But one of the big arguments down in the in the New York State legislature is a lot of the bills and laws that are driven come out of the
craziness,
the downstate legislators, and they don't understand really what we're doing up here or what our way of life is.
They're thinking Little House on the Prairie, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm on the Ag Committee. I debate all the ag bills along with a few other of my colleagues, and we have these ag tours. The city legislators come up and they go on the tours, and they say they understand what our agriculture industry is going through. But then they go back to Albany and they vote against our farmers.
Right.
So
he's clarifying his question. Are we paying for New York City? He's saying, are we paying for the migrants being sent around the state from New York City? To my knowledge, that for the places that have taken some of them, I'm pretty sure they are paid, and that's part of the reason why they're taking them.
Yeah, that's the way it is. New York City was there's money in the budget for New York City to house and
so that would mean ultimately then the taxpayers are paying for it, kind of.
Yeah.
So all of New York State combined together. All right, Brian, thank you. I got a break at WIBX Utica Rome. It's 8 o'clock.
Catastrophic and life-threatening flooding. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. That warning from the National Hurricane Center as heavy rain hits Southern California from what was Tropical Storm Hillary. Some people are calling to be rescued from high water. There are roads washed out and power outages. 911 lines are down in Palm Springs, Cathedral City, and Indio, California. There's a federal response in place.
FEMA's Deanne Criswell says even though it's something the American West Coast doesn't see often, she believes California is ready for the effects of Hillary. On CBS Face the Nation, she said FEMA will be poised to help out.
If it does exceed what their capability is, we're going to have additional search and rescue teams, commodities on hand to be able to go in and support anything that they might ask for.
Criswell also says FEMA is watching its disaster funds, which estimates show could be depleted by September, as Hawaii and possibly states affected by Hillary seek aid. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
California clothing store owner who was murdered is being remembered as a fearless pillar of her community.
Police in San Bernardino say 66-year-old Laura Ann Carlton was shot and killed Friday by a man who made disparaging remarks about the LGBTQ plus pride flag flown outside her clothing store Magpie in Cedar Glen. Police say they were able to track down the armed suspect who was fatally shot during a confrontation with the officers. The suspect not yet identified. San Bernardino County Supervisor Dawn Rowe remembering the victim, a mother of 9, calling the act of hate and violence unthinkable. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Bernardo Arevalo is elected president of Guatemala, beating former First Lady Sandra Torres, running an anti-corruption campaign. Arevalo won 56% of the vote. His father was Guatemala's first democratically elected president in 1945. Stock futures are up ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Who is there for the families left behind when a service member or first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty? Who helps our nation's homeless veterans? And who helps our nation keep its vow to never forget 9/11? The Tunnel to Towers Foundation. More than 95 cents of every dollar you donate to Tunnel to Towers goes to its programs. This charity keeps its word. Honor our nation's greatest heroes. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
All right, mostly cloudy skies, and they will be with us for much of the day today, although we are expected to stay dry. 68 degrees currently. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's. They have hot buys this August. A two-piece sofa and love seat from $5.99. Reclining sofas from $4.99. Same-day delivery. My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center. Syracuse man killed in an early morning shooting in Armory Square over the weekend. Officers in the square say they heard gunshots on South Clinton Street just after midnight. The officer found a man who had been shot multiple times and provided medical care until an ambulance arrived. However, the victim later died in the emergency room. The name not yet released, and the investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office says it is investigating after firearms were stolen from the home of two Syracuse police officers. It happened last month. Nika Pasquarella and Emily Pasquarella were on vacation and had 3 guns in a bedroom closet of their home. A relative was house-sitting, and officials say that a 15-year-old nephew then found the guns in an unlocked case and snuck them out of the house. The guns were not reported missing until a week later. The sheriff's office is trying to track them down. As the guns have been passed off multiple times, that investigation has had some obstacles. So far, 1 weapon has been recovered, but not the one issued by Syracuse PD. SUNY Cobleskill hosting a job fair today and tomorrow. The school offering opportunities for cooks, food handlers, and utility workers. More information on their website. Just head to SUNY Cobleskill's website. A former bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Albany has passed away. Howard Hubbard died yesterday from a stroke at the age of 84. He was known for activism and his outspoken advocacy for peace, social justice, and care for the poor. Also, fellowship among faiths. Hubbard was born in Troy, New York, and grew up in Lansingburg. He took pride in praying with over 400,000 Catholics from the diocese over his career. A reminder once again, we are helping kids in the area get off, help to start the school year on the right foot. We are partnering with Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield for the Kicks for Kids program. Just head to the wish list at WIBX950.com. We've made it real simple. Click on Kicks for Kids, and there's a tab there. It explains what we're doing with the program and an Amazon wish list. These are not the Nike Jordans. They are not Yeezys. They're not the Air Force Ones. They are sensible, practical, safe shoes for kids, sneakers, and it's on an Amazon wish list. All you have to do is click and purchase. You don't have to worry about color, style, size, all that. They've made it simple. We're partnering with the Neighborhood Center as well. That's where the sneakers will be shipped to, and they will get on the feet of local kids in need. Of course, the school year is just around the corner, and as I say, they want to get them off on the right foot. Full details at WIBX950.com. Your Weather Center forecast. Mostly cloudy skies through the day today. We'll have a high reaching 79 degrees. Not a bad day. We are expected to stay dry, although we will be cloudy. Cloudy skies stick with us through the overnight tonight. A low temp falling back to 51 degrees. And then a couple of nice days on tap. Tuesday and Wednesday, mostly sunny skies each day with a high reaching 76 degrees. We are looking at a chance of rain showers on Thursday with a high only in the low 70s. Bill, right now, mostly cloudy, 68. It is 8:07. All right, in sports, the Yankees had a rough weekend. The Mets took 3 of 4 from the St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, the recent success of the Mets has Bill thinking we have a chance to make the playoffs.
I have comments on that we'll get to coming up.
The Mets unable to complete a 4-game sweep, however. They lost the series finale 7-3 to the Cardinals on Sunday. Carlos Carrasco tagged with another loss. Pete Alonso hit another home run, his 39th of the season. The Mets now 58-67. They head to Atlanta to start a 3-game series against the Braves tonight. The Yankees, meanwhile, swept this weekend by the Red Sox in the Bronx. It's 8 straight losses for the Yankees. It's their longest losing streak in 28 seasons. Clay Holmes took the loss. Yankees now 60-64, 9 games out of a wild card spot. They're off tonight. They'll be licking their wounds before they welcome the Washington Nationals to the Bronx. The U.S. men's national basketball team finished off its exhibition schedule with a 99-91 win over Germany. Anthony Edwards led all scorers with 34 points. Team USA now completes its exhibition schedule at 5-0. They open World Cup play on Saturday in the Philippines, and they will take on New Zealand. And our man, Uncle Smitty, was at the Glen this weekend. Will Byron celebrated his 5th NASCAR Cup Series victory of the season at Watkins Glen in the Go Bowling at the Glen race. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, A.J. Allmendinger, and Ty Gibbs rounded out the top 5. Byron already clinched a playoff berth, which means Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick now lock in playoff spots. Up next, they'll race in Daytona at the Coke Zero Sugar 400, which is the last race of the regular season. Then the 10-race chase begins to crown the champion this year. Anything you'd like to add?
How was it out there, Davey?
It was awesome.
Yeah. You did some bowling because there's a bowling at the Glen.
Yes, I did do some bowling.
What is the exact name? Is it?
It's the GoBowling.com
Go Bowling
at the Glen.
So that would just be like AMF at the Glen, or Pepsi at the Glen. Go Bowling is a brand.
And they announced yesterday it was the 8th consecutive sellout.
Wow.
Of the race, and Go Bowling up for another 3 years, so it's going to be Go Bowling at the Glen for the next couple of years.
And then a car wash is going to come in and take over.
And they literally, well, if anything around upstate New York, it should be car washes, right? There are more car washes than churches and bars, it seems now. All right.
So sad, but so true.
They literally had little outdoor bowling setups where you could, would you pay? You have to pay, or you just get in line and you get to bowl a couple frames?
Yeah, you just get in and a couple.
Oh, I'm looking at the pictures you have there.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, that's really cool.
They have
set right up outside. That is so cool.
They had 2 lanes, and they had if for the kids they had like the bumpers on the side for the kids.
Yeah, okay. And then all this while the racing gets prepared and ready to go.
Yeah.
So they don't have it set up like the state fair, right? Like if you bowl 2 strikes, you get a stuffed animal or something like that.
And then the grand marshals were 2 professional bowlers. And of course, I had to get my picture taken with them.
And you did, yeah. Okay, good, nice
job, Smitty.
All right, Richard, with some comments here on first of all on the Mets. He thinks that I am apparently ridiculous. In fact,
because of the Mets or in general?
Earlier this morning, probably in general. Earlier this morning, I simply said this next series and this next week for the Mets is going to be pivotal. A miraculous comeback. It has happened before, and it could happen. And you know, I think in 1973, if you look back to there, the Mets had a bit of an off season and then poured it on at the end and made the playoffs, and then just came shy of winning it all. So all I'm saying is it's mathematically possible. This series with the Atlanta Braves would be key. In fact, Gary Cohen on the broadcast yesterday was talking about it, and Keith Hernandez stepped in and said, I'm not willing to talk about any chance of making it to the playoffs until this series with the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah,
he's
right.
If they can play well against the Braves and maybe win 2 out of 3, then we can sit down and talk about a path forward to making it to the playoffs. Although Davey is laughing, saying there's no chance. 8 straight losses in a row, Davey. Come on.
For the Yankees.
For the Yankees.
So
okay.
Can I just add
By the way,
quick?
here's his comment, and then you can add. Bill, you don't know how ridiculous you sound this morning, saying the Mets still have a chance. Mathematically, yes, but it's not how many games they're back, but how many teams they must pass. We understand that. Mm-hmm. It's 5 teams. It's not happening. And by the way, preseason football is the most meaningless preseason in all of sports. I guess I agree with that too, but the way they played so miserably and horribly hopefully is going to serve as a wake-up call for the Buffalo Bills.
And just to follow up on Richard's point before we get to Smitty, he's absolutely right about that. In no other sport in the preseason action do they go, get ready for this preseason game where 85% of the play will involve backups and third stringers.
Right. Yes. However, this was a point where you had your starters playing for the first at least 8 or 10 minutes, and they looked horrible.
Yeah.
Josh Allen looked pretty good, though. He also says we have so many people that need help. For you to pick and choose who to help, I believe, is 100% wrong. If you want to pay...
Whoa. Stop.
If you want to pay... Sorry.
That's ridiculous.
That
for him to
is
say
ridiculous,
that.
Richard.
That's how it works. Would you like a corporate entity or the government to come in and tell you who you should and can't help? You pick and choose who you support.
I don't know where, first of all,
Richard,
where we're going on this negativity on this guy who had his car, think about it. He had his car stolen. He hasn't had his car in 2 months because they say it's evidence. And they can't give it up. He has to go through Griffo's office. Griffo talks to the DA. They finally sign off on this. Now he can get his car back, but they're telling him, yes, you can have your car back, but you who had your car stolen have to pay $700. So earlier this morning I said, wouldn't it be nice if we all got together, which I started over the weekend, and I raised $100 over the weekend. We all chipped in $20. And I said, wouldn't it be nice if we actually could pay to have this guy get his car back? So this is not giving something to some jerk. This is a guy who's a victim. Now, he should be able to afford to pay his own $700. This is the community coming together and saying, hey, this isn't fair. Whether it's me, imagine if it was your grandmother or your mother or someone like that who had her car stolen. Maybe we'd be looking at it differently. But I almost feel that this is a community standing up and saying, this isn't right. And we're all going to chip in a couple bucks or whatever to help this guy out. That's it.
Or not.
And
or
if
not.
You don't want to,
don't.
You don't have to.
We were just telling you a story about how this guy kind of got screwed after he got screwed.
Now all these people, I'm getting all these messages saying, screw this guy. He can't afford to pay the $700. He doesn't deserve to drive.
Oh, folks, what's going on here? Is that what we're going to tell crime victims from now on? You thought it was bad when the criminals had you. Wait till our audience gets a hold of you.
That's exactly right. I feel like it is more about a community saying enough is enough. This isn't fair. We're all just going to chip in. It's not going to hurt anybody. Your $20 or your $100 or whatever you're willing to chip in. It's not going to hurt anybody. I've got it. I want to help this guy out.
We had a couple of folks drop off some money, and I want to say thank you to them.
Yeah,
and again, Richard, if you don't
feel
like
guilty for saying, please don't feel guilty if you gave money to this.
Yeah, a tip of the cap to you.
And
that's a very
by
nice
the way,
thing.
we're only at $290. We aren't to $700 yet. I'd love this hour for this community to stand up and say, I don't want this guy to have to pay for this. We're going to help him, and then we'll change the law so it doesn't happen to somebody else down the road.
And can I also just say, since Richard doesn't like the idea that you pick and choose what causes you want to give to, I will say to Richard, by the power vested in me, I'm calling on you to make a $20 donation.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
All right, we would like you to
because I have no power vested in me, but I'm just asking.
I just can't believe that all of a sudden this has turned into a negative. Are you kidding me? Screw him. Where did he leave the car? I mean, parked in his driveway? Did he not have a security camera on it? It looks like, and I don't know if it's true, some drug dealer or somebody drugged out stole his car and did all these drugs in the car, took it to Syracuse, and now this guy, not only being without his car for 2 or 3 months, is now has to pay to get it back. It just doesn't seem fair. And that's why I'm saying let's try to raise some money for him. Let's just pay for it, and he gets the car back. If you don't want to, don't participate. If you do, call Davey, and whatever you could give, 315-736-0186, we would appreciate it. We have all given here. Okay. Davey, are you paying attention?
Yes.
I don't know. Have you got somebody in your room there?
I'm paying attention.
Okay. Thank you. All right. What did you want to say?
Oh, on the Mets broadcast on WPIX this weekend, Did you see the caption when they went to do a preview with Gary Cohn and Keith Hernandez?
Was it over the shirt? Keith Hernandez's shirt?
He put the duct tape on, PIX.
So well, remember, Keith Hernandez played for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
There was a big weekend where they were honoring former players, and he was honored. So he was wearing his Cardinal red. So when he came on the broadcast, they're flipping back and forth between SNY and PIX. And he had, I believe it was a Cardinals shirt on.
Yes.
So here he's coming in to do the Mets game with a Cardinals shirt. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it made the New York Post.
Okay.
And it was kind of interesting.
He duct taped it, Jeff. He wrote PIX 11 on it.
Yeah. So they added a little duct tape to fix all that. All right, listen, I got a break. If you would like to help us.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to. We are picking and choosing. This story just seemed to mean something to me, and that's why I did it. I'm sorry if you're offended. But if you're not offended and you're offended that the guy has to pay and you'd like to give $20 or $50 or whatever, call Davey, 315-736-0186. But you're not required to.
That's what's wrong with this this country. I remember back in the day, the good old days when we mandated charity and we told you who you were going to give to.
Listen, I'm just going to say this. Jeff and I both gave. If you knew how much money we make at this place, you'd be like, wow, that's impressive. I got a break. It's 8:19 at WIBX.
Stop! School bus drivers needed. Durham Bus Services has a unique opportunity to drive school buses, from minivans to full-size buses. All buses are automatic, air-conditioned, and easier than ever to drive. We're looking for reliable members of our community to learn while you earn and get up to $23.50 an hour, a matching 401k, medical, and paid time off. Apply online at nellc.com or call 315-275-8329.
Home and Hospital Medical Supply and the New Hartford Shopping Center proudly carries a wide selection of home medical equipment. Lift chairs to buy or rent, canes, crutches, walkers, powered scooters, braces, foot care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them 315-724-6767 and online at hnhmedicalny.com. Home and Hospital Medical Supplies, we make life easier.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE, Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
At AmeriQ, we know sometimes it's not about the destination and that the best connections are made along the way, because we're all about real connections, online, in person, and everywhere in between. Connect with a real person online when you need us, and easy mobile access to your accounts when you don't. Stay connected with AmeriQ wherever your life takes you. AmeriQ, and you. Let's connect. Membership eligibility is required. Insured by NCUA.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 518-554 all zeros. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York 12203.
Hey, Mom. Hey. I completely forgot about Jackie's birthday tomorrow.
Okay.
Sorry. Hello.
Hi, Mommy. Are you still at Kenny? We've got this.
Kenny Drugs. We got this. And that.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All righty. In studio right now, we worked on this whole story about this guy in Rome who had his car stolen, taken to Syracuse, and now Syracuse is charging him $700 to get it back. We've got her in studio now, Mayor Jackie Izzo. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
We had you waiting out in the hallway like we were a victim of a crime, just standing there waiting.
All right,
It's a record for you two.
I want to update. I want to give you a little update on the man. His name is Joe Storms. He is from Rome. Had his car stolen, and the car. This was like 3 months ago. So the car was stolen and then taken to Syracuse. Now they've found the car, and apparently stuff was done inside the car involving drugs. So that becomes a part of the evidence. So the defense team wanted to be able to examine the evidence. Now the guy can't get his car back. So he's gone through his legislators, went through Griffo's office. Griffo back and forth between Syracuse and Oneida County. Went to the DA's office. Scott McNamara signed off on this. We're going to take pictures. We're going to get all the evidence we need and release the car. So then Syracuse responded by saying, yep, we're going to release the car. But because it's evidence, we just can't release it. We have to transport it back to Rome and turn it over. And then Rome, because the Oneida County DA is the one who signed off on the evidence, that's the reason here. It has to go back to Oneida County. Then it can be released. However, it's going to cost $700 to transport the evidence from Syracuse to Rome. Therefore, sir, Mr. Storms, you're going to have to pay $700 to get your car back. Craziness.
Wow.
So I just kind of said this morning, wouldn't it be nice as community members if we all kind of just got together and raised the money to be able to get this guy his car back? Because he's saying, I just can't afford the $700. I'm working paycheck to paycheck. And this is really community members saying, this just doesn't seem to be right, right?
Well, exactly. There's nothing more frustrating. He's the victim.
He's the victim, and he's got to pay. Meanwhile, the person who stole the vehicle is out with no bail because of our current system and bail reform.
Sleeping off a hangover as we speak.
That's right. That's right. All right. So I want to give you an update. This morning, over the weekend, I was with some people. Actually, I was in Rome, and Sugar Beets.
Yes.
That was really, really good.
Yes, very good restaurant.
And then there was another place that we went to. It was the one, because there was supposed to be this big event happening. Showtime was in, and Franca's. We were at Franca's. Franca's. Sorry. And that was really, really nice, too. Although, couldn't you have stopped the rain?
I'm sorry. I know.
It just rained and rained and rained.
Yeah, well, we got the first 2 hours in.
Yeah.
So the band that was outside, luckily they got their entire set in, and then it poured.
And then it poured. And it didn't stop. I mean,
no, it didn't
poured
stop.
and poured. Anyway, so we raised $100. Then Manaski gave $20. Joe Joseph, thank you for $20. Neil gave $25.
Thank you.
Tim Reed gave $100. Thank you, Tim. Joe added $25. That put us at $290. Just a few moments ago, Joe Pacini said, and I want to quote Joe, there is so much negativity and so many unhappy people in the world today, and those are the people that don't think twice about spouting off in a negative way. For that reason, I'm donating $20. Thank you, Joe. And then we just got a phone call from Hattie, who, Davey, she did not want to go on the air, right?
No, and you talked to her.
I did. She said, I'm going to take care of the rest. She gave $400.
Wow.
We have raised $710 to pay for this guy's car to get out.
And Kevin, who was on earlier with Assemblyman Miller, him and his girlfriend's going to do $20 each, so there's $40.
Okay, so we'll cover the guy's gas. So, $20 each.
Yes.
So $40 from Kevin.
What do we got?
So $750.
Okay.
$750.
Well, we were at $290. We were at $290 plus $400 is $690 plus $40.
$290.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe I did this wrong. $290 plus $400 is $690.
Yeah.
Plus $20, $710. Plus $40 is $750.
Oh, wow. Okay. There we go. Well, there you go.
Very nice.
I want to say thank you to everybody, especially the big donation, the $400 that came in. Thank you very much.
And thank you for the $20 donations.
Yes.
It is all
absolutely
really. And Hattie sounds like such a wonderful. We spoke to her. She does not want to go on the air, but a wonderful woman who said, I'm sorry. If that was me, I would love it if the community were to come together, and I'm giving $400.
So, and by the way, our man Big Honey said he's sitting down to a nice bowl of cereal. He's poured vinegar right over the top of it, just sucking it up.
Big Honey. Okay, Mayor. Good morning. Well, listen, that shows you that there are good people out there that want to help.
Oh, I think that's fantastic, and I'm sorry for all the trouble that Joe has had with trying to get his own vehicle back.
Yeah.
Which was stolen out from under him. And he's been without a vehicle now for 3 months, too, right?
Correct. And I think it's more symbolic than anything else here, really, what we're talking about. We're not speaking about Joe in particular. It's just, it seems so ridiculous that that we're the victim and we, the people, end up having to pay to be able to get back just a piece of our property.
Well, the
it just doesn't seem
perpetrator
fair.
is walking around,
getting ready to figure out, where can I do this? You know, whose car can I do this in next?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, Mayor, I know we have you on, and this kind of popped up here this morning, but quite interesting in that for the first time, I believe in a long time, the Democrats have decided to cross party lines and endorse someone other than someone in their own party.
Yes, it's...
They endorsed, by the way, they endorsed you for mayor here.
Yes, I think it goes back to Mayor Valentine's time, so it'd be about 40 years. Very humbled that the Democrats reached out. We had very good conversations. This is just, it's about creating a bipartisan atmosphere. We've worked very hard, our administration, at doing that. Obviously, you can't bring in the kind of grant money that we have with a Democrat. It's been a Democratic administration in Albany for the entirety of our terms, and we've had great cooperation because it takes a lot behind the scenes to forge these relationships. And when we came in, I said from day one we needed to do what was best for Rome, and that means that I need to do the best that I can to build relationships not only with our Republican colleagues but also our Democratic colleagues. And I've always said many times being on the show, we have a great legislative team here in our area. That's why we're getting things done. That's why they don't get things done in Washington.
Yeah. It is right. You spend all the time arguing back and forth and not wanting anyone else to be able to get any bit of a victory here. Nothing gets done.
Nothing gets done. And locally, we don't have that kind of time. We can't do that. We need things to happen here. And finally, we're on a trajectory that's upward because we're all working hard at it. So I think that the Democrats have recognized that. Now I am endorsed by all three major parties in Rome, Republican, Conservative, and Democrat. And that's something you need to take very seriously. I talk to a lot of people all the time. I don't ever ask them, what political party are you from? Because they're all citizens of Rome. They all have an interest in what's happening with the city. And, everyone has a good idea, or they might have some good feedback. You need to listen. And we do a lot of that. And some of those ideas we can put into practice, and others we can't for various reasons. But still, people like to be heard. We were at the block party Friday night. There was a really good mix of people there. They were really thrilled to be down there. And it's just a good opportunity to be able to talk to people and get a different perspective. One gentleman told me he moved into one of the apartment complexes there just because he wanted to be in the burgeoning arts district.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Did you have any hesitation because of we talked a little bit about this, we have over time, We've seen that. We live in a climate today where I just wonder if some Republicans go, Jackie's been, the Democrats stepped up and said something nice about her. Why would you support her? Any concern on your part?
If this were 40 years ago, absolutely. The climate was much different.
Yeah.
No, I did think about it because I want people to understand I'm still a Republican. I'm not switching parties. But to have other political parties reach out to you, and I've had good discussions with the Democrats. They have some different ways of thinking about issues, which has been interesting to me. Because if you think about your other campaigns, you don't really spend your time talking to different party people sometimes because you're so concerned about getting your own party's vote out. But this has been an interesting journey, and I want to keep that up. Last time we ran, we did have a meet and greet that was just for Democrats and blanks. And it was really one of the best things that we did, and we're going to do that again now with the Democratic Party because people have different interests in your city. And whether you want to realize that or not, you have to keep that in mind. And when we announce projects, you hear a different perspective on those projects, and what people are thinking about is important as we go forward with something. So even in the downtown area, people were just thrilled the other night. That's something different for Rome.
Yeah,
we haven't really had that sort of activity in downtown in 50 years since we did urban renewal.
Mm-hmm. I want to take off Jeff's question there in that one of the areas of concern would be that the Constitutional Caucus, Jim Zecca and that group seem to be very much behind your opponent. And that is an organization that would, and I don't want to put words in their mouth. I know Jim's going to be on at some point coming forward, but I could see them saying, "Well, you should have turned that down. You're a Republican. You should have turned that down."
Why would I turn down the conservatives?
Right.
Certainly, that's closer to my thinking. I am a conservative, but I'm probably a right-center type conservative, where most of the country really is.
Right.
I don't think you can ignore a good portion of your electorate if they come to you and they have serious concerns about what they think is best for the city. You have to pay attention to that. And it just happens to be in this cycle. If they had a candidate, they wouldn't be doing this. But in this cycle, they're very concerned. And actually, they are very concerned about the extremism that seems to be coming out now in this campaign. They feel like they're going to be very marginalized if my opponent were to win the race. So you have to keep that in mind, too. There's very strong feelings both ways.
I do think that for politicians, people who run for public office, whether you're running for mayor, you're running for council, or you're in the state level, you're Brian Miller, you're Joe Griffo, Mary Ann, I think you end up, you're now representing a community made up of Republicans, Democrats, and blanks. And if I really feel like if you don't listen to all parties involved, you're representing all of them, not just the ones who put you in office. I think that's a decision that every political figure needs to make after winning an election.
No one wins a race just with their own party people. You have to have people that cross over. And once you do win, say, the mayor's race, you become the mayor. You are the mayor of all of your citizens, not just certain segments, and you can't look at it like that. So to me, this is another segment of the community that came to me and wanted to have discussions about where do you think we're going, what are we doing. We think that we're on a good trajectory. We don't want that momentum to stop. Why would we change in the middle here? And then it's no different than being out. I was in Copper City Connections last week. That's another constituency of people. But they're different because you're probably going to have all political persuasions in the room, but they're focused on seniors. What are we doing with seniors? Where's the community going? So I think, you have to listen to all of these groups. You can't be worried about who's in what political party when you're talking to someone. And I just think that it's a recognition that our administration has been representing everyone for the three major parties to feel as though they needed to all endorse me for re-election.
Manaski.
Matt in Holland Patton asks, I'm just wondering, and I know the answer to this, but I'm just asking, I'm just wondering, does the mayor lean Republican or Democrat, or is she in the middle like myself? And that was from Matt and HP.
I don't lean far right or far left. I think if you look at the way we have governed, we make decisions that are best for the people of Rome, for our city moving forward, and the highest use of our dollars. Our record is conservative. We haven't raised taxes in 6 years, but we haven't let our services suffer. So we govern from more of a business-like maneuver. You know, we're going to have open house tomorrow night at our animal control facility. That was the old water shop years ago, and for years people said, well, we're going to sell that building. So they let it deteriorate. Well, I wouldn't have let my own dog stay in this building. But right next to that, on the same lot, is a Verizon cell tower. Looking at the income coming in from that, there's no way you can sell this building because that's an income stream for the city that's pretty good. It's not a good business decision. So immediately we said, look, that's got to be put to the side. We need to start finding money. We've got to rehab this building because it was deplorable for our animals. Now we've got a great facility. We want the public to see it, and we renegotiated another cell tower lease, and that's a revenue stream for the city. So that's a win-win. Those are the types of things that I worry about when we're looking at financial situations, or should we sell a piece of real estate where we'll get a one-time revenue stream versus one that's going to continue now into the next 10 years.
All right.
And just to follow up on something you mentioned earlier, you talked about extremism and that maybe other parties or one party was feeling there was some extremism from your opponent. Is there an example of that you can point to?
Yes. They don't feel as they feel as though there's an element that's come into our community that is extremely right, where their voice will never be heard. If this person were to come into office, they do not, as they've said to me.
When you say they, are you talking about the Democrats?
No, I'm talking about the Republicans.
Okay.
I'm
no, but the
about
Democrats are saying
yes, the Democrats are very concerned.
Concerned.
Yes, that they will be marginalized, their voice will not be heard, and that the city will be taken in a direction that's very far right. And, you know, both we can collectively agree, myself, the Democrats, that neither extreme is the right one. There has to be some compromise, and they feel as though the art of the deal or the compromise would be lost.
Okay.
So obviously your opponent is Jeff Lanigan. Will you mention your affiliation?
I have, and I will. I do marketing for Mayor Izzo, and I have since she first ran. So.
I'll just say in the last couple of weeks,
which is why I Jeff oftentimes will take more of a lead on these, and just in the spirit of transparency, that's what goes on.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I want to say I've reached out to the Lanigan campaign a couple of times over the past 2 to 3 weeks. I've not gotten a response. He is welcome to come in, and we will throw questions at him from ourselves and from the audience, as we always do. But unfortunately, we have not. I just want to be clear as to why we haven't heard his voice on the program. We're not boxing him out. He's welcome to come in, and I have not gotten responses the last few times that I've reached out. Just one more follow-up here. This comes from Matt in Holland Patton. He's the one who asked the question about which, well, let me go back and ask the question. I don't want to mischaracterize it. You answered it about, which way you lean. You explained that. Matt says she has nothing to worry about with that endorsement, in his opinion. Come on here. This is opening up. I apologize. He also said, I like to criticize the mayor, but actually she is winning me over. So you can take that there.
Okay.
Well,
now if you can get Lance and Lee, you're going to be like a hat trick. I guess it wouldn't be a hat trick without three. Anything further you want to add?
No, just that I think that it's monumental for Rome to have all three major political parties solidly behind the incumbent for re-election, and we're working really hard. We just announced a $105 million affordable housing project in South Rome on the canal, which is going to be a game changer, transformative for that area. And people are very excited, disabled vets, seniors, and workforce. So it's going to be a great project. So we're continuing to work regardless of whether we're campaigning.
Mayor Izzo, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll do it again. As Jeff said, we have reached out to Mr. Lanigan. We hope to get him on the program soon as well. A quick review. We have raised the money for the guy who had his car stolen. And we want to thank everybody out there who gave everything from $20 all the way up to Hattie's $400 donation this morning. Just community getting together saying this shouldn't happen to anyone. And we community members are standing up to ease the pain just a little bit, which this guy, Joe Storm, seems to have dealt with for the last 3 months. It's crazy. Mayor, thank you.
Just one more from Big Honey. This is a follow-up because I did take a little jab at him. He said, good one, Jeff. Sorry, I was just trying to make your show interesting today.
Okay.
Thank you,
Right.
Big Honey.
And without you, Big Honey,
we appreciate it.
It would not have been interesting. Thank you for noticing that. River Hills Properties is the fastest, right, Mayor? I mean, you were an audience member for quite some time. You can agree with Big Honey.
Yes.
That's how we do it now. Working on the ratings, we have forced listenership. That's what we do.
Right.
We invite you in, we make you sit there and listen.
River Hills, thank you. And we apologize for the delay this morning. River Hills Properties, the fastest growing real estate company in the area. When we say that, we really have to talk about the fact that, number one, 15 years ago, you did not know the name. Today, they are the number one independent real estate agency in all of Central New York. And when it comes to adding in the chains, they are number two. So that's a pretty big increase from nobody knowing their name 15 years ago. How did they get there? It is all about working hard for the customer, working hard, providing services that real estate agents don't normally deal with around here. For instance, your house is always shown with someone there on your side in the building, in the home, on the property. Your listing agent is always there every time the house is shown, period. That's the River Hills way. The book, 40 to 100 pages filled with details about the house. It's like the manual for the home. If you're considering purchasing or making an offer on the house, that book answers so many questions. And if it doesn't, that listing agent is there to answer those questions on the spot. Offices in Barneville, Little Falls, and Utica. Online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Call 315-896-1009. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
Do you feel like your current checking account just isn't working for you anymore? Maybe monthly fees are cutting into your already tight budget. Or maybe you're looking for more convenience with additional bells and whistles that allow you to accomplish more with less work. Whatever your reason, it might be a great time for you to check out the lineup of accounts at Adirondack Bank. From no-frills basic accounts to paperless high-yield accounts, we're sure to have the perfect solution for your needs. We also offer a large selection of extras such as customizable debit cards, electronic statements, online banking and bill pay, mobile banking, and mobile deposit. We also have a great client services team ready to answer your questions with our live chat. Visit our website at www.adkbank.com. Use the checking comparison tool and see which options are best for you. That's adkbank.com. Member FDIC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, if you've been wishing for new windows this summer, like we were, and received, we did half last year, half this year from New York Sash. Changed a ton. The look of the home, and it really has done a great job of keeping the cool air in and that humidity out. This month you can save 50. It's not even the hot air for us up here anymore. It's just humidity. This month you can save 50% on the installation of brand new windows from New York Sash. The temps are medium right now. We're dealing with temperatures this week in the 70s. Not typical August weather. Is that a sign that we're going to be in for a really rough winter? Some people say yes. The Farmer's Almanac says yes. So you're going to want to make sure your house is all buttoned up and ready to go. New York Sash can help with new windows. 50% off the installation of new windows professionally installed and made to fit your home. Whether you need one window or a whole house full, you'll get big savings this month with 50% off the installation, and then you can save on your energy dollars for years to come. All on sale, all styles this month at New York Sash with professional installation and warranty. If you want new windows before winter, don't wait. Call today or visit their website, NewYorkSash.com, or stop by the showroom, 349 Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Monday morning. And this week, the New York State Fair gets underway. That starts on Wednesday. Jeff has been pre-promoting it for the last 9 months.
Sorry.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Hey, I'm all about making sure the state budget is up to snuff.
Wasn't it the beginning of May? The headline was from one of the stories on one of our services. The New York State Fair is just around the corner.
Yes.
That might have been April. Yeah. All right. Some comments,
Yes.
and then I got a bunch of stuff
Well,
to get
I want to say, first of all, I'm sensing some beef with Big Honey. Look, dude, your comment was fine. It's fine. Like, it's okay. Whether you agree or disagree,
Yes.
I'll read the comment, and you don't have to be, you don't have to
Is
be.
he mad at you?
Well, no, he said, sorry. I was just trying to make your show interesting. Good one, because I made the comment about the vinegar on his cereal.
It's
Whatever.
all good. Yeah,
dude. We're not mad, and I hope you're not. Also, this comes from Jim in Rome. Bill, what happened with the woodpecker?
Oh, well, I got to tell you, it just went away. Must have found a mate. So apparently, this pecking against the metal stovepipe is a thing, and the louder a woodpecker can peck, it's a female. The more a male might be able to hear it, and she'll get her mate.
So essentially,
I would think that they would have been looking for a mate in the springtime, but apparently, you never know. Maybe she lost a mate or caught him cheating. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
She's looking for somebody new.
The woodpecker turned your chimney into Varick Street. I'm here,
That's
and
right.
I'm single.
That's exactly what it was.
The other thing here, speaking of beef, and again, no beef with Big Honey, but beef Mezzaferros. Smitty, there's some news on Mezzaferros, which it was over a year ago, if you think about it. It was April of last year that their location was destroyed by fire.
Yeah, so the River Street location closed yesterday at 5 o'clock, and the new facility over in Ridge Mills opens up, I believe at 9 or 10 o'clock this morning.
All right.
They're going to have it opens up.
So the one they closed yesterday at 5,
Yeah.
that was their temporary spot while they were opening this other place. It's in Ridge Mills or it's on Ridge Mills?
It's in Ridge Mills, across from Ridge Mills Elementary School.
Okay, and that's in Rome?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Davey, did you get the money from Joe? Joseph, he was out in the parking lot. He might still be out there. I didn't see his message.
oh no, Megan said that someone dropped money off.
Okay, all right,
her.
good.
Thank you to Joe and Neil and everybody else.
Real quick on Mezzaferros, temporarily they're going to close that River Street, but it's going to be opening back up maybe in the future. They said.
Okay, all right.
Okay. My mother told me, actually, when that happened in Rome, not to make light of the situation, and I'm happy that they're back open. She said she hadn't seen that much charred meat since the last time I made dinner. So there's that.
So
and
it
then
might be a little bit busy up there today, especially
Well-
during lunch hour.
What is Joe Load so upset about?
Okay, so peek behind the curtain here. I didn't know we were getting into this, but so Joe Load called me on Friday. There was a post that went up on our cluster of websites. It did not originate from us, but I believe anytime somebody in the building writes something, it goes up across all 5 brands. There was a post essentially that was like tongue-in-cheek. It was about marrying your cousin, and on social media, I believe the author had put something up like they're breathing a sigh of relief in Boonville or something along those lines. Obviously, the post was taken down, and there was an apology. The station that it originated on apologized for the comment. Can I just?
So it was on our site as well, right?
I believe it was.
But written from. That's the way it works. So we'll write something, and it'll be on all of our stations. We have 5 stations here.
Yeah.
And that includes OUR, right?
Yes.
So, I knowing who wrote it?
Will.
Okay. He's a stand-up comic. And
that was my take
He's
also.
actually worked for Fat Cats before, and that's kind of his shtick. You don't have to feel bad. He's from Richfield. So, that's the pot calling the kettle black right there.
It is. But, I think, when you deliver that line, if you're
He's
on a stage,
comic.
he's a comedian.
Trying to be funny. And
the problem is you have the overlap of the medium, and it's not conveyed that way. I understand why people up north were a little upset about that. Frankly, I would have been too. But
probably
he doesn't have a beef with Boonville.
Probably shouldn't have been on IBX's website, to be honest. That story.
Yeah, and again, probably shouldn't have been on any of the brands. It could be in a bit.
Right.
It could be in your stand-up act, but
yes,
listen,
lost
in translation. Sometimes there's that overlap, and that's why I love this medium.
Without cousins marrying each other, we wouldn't have Jerry Lee Lewis and all those great songs that he had over the years.
That's why I love this medium, because there's so much conveyed in inflection and tone and how you deliver a line or you say something.
Well, apparently,
I think it was lost on social media last week.
Angered everybody this morning over so many different things. But that just is a typical day for
you.
us. For me, you're right. It wasn't that way till I got here. That's all I can tell you. Let's see. Oh, here's the story. Ray did a screenshot of it.
Okay,
so
you see
here
it.
it is.
You see it there, right?
Yep. Oh, and this is Joe.
Joe Load. Look, he was upset, and I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, Joe was very angry about it.
It wasn't, again, guy's a stand-up. he meant it in jest as a joke. Obviously, it's a cheap shot, right? Granted. But, like, nobody in this building actually thinks that. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
it's a joke. I get it. And I get it why they would be bothered by it. That's perfectly fine.
100%. I would
So it is what it is.
Upset about it,
Did
too.
anybody call in, Davey, and say they felt an earthquake over the weekend because we were getting reports of that? No. They did, of course, in California. Man, I've run out of time, and I've got so much to squeeze in here. Darn it all. There's the story. Let's see if I can get one more in here. I thought it was interesting. I'll do this tomorrow. A judge has ruled that AI cannot be copyrighted. So if you get a song and you use AI to create the song, that cannot be copyrighted.
Good.
A 10-year-old was arrested. Why? He was urinating. He was peeing behind his mother's car. Police saw him, said it was public indecency. Is that ridiculous?
How old?
10.
That's total crap.
They apparently have never been to New York City.
That's total garbage.
And then this was really big. In Louisiana, we talk about our schools. In Louisiana, they're upset. The school board made a decision that they've gone from a 5-day school week to a 4-day, and they're doing it because they can't find teachers and employees. They're so shorthanded, they've had to go to 4 days, and parents are up in arms. So the next time you start complaining about your local school district, realize we ain't got it anywhere nearly as bad as they do in Louisiana.
Well, let me just say we're a little short-staffed here, so we're going to be off on Fridays
That's right.
going forward. I'm kidding about that, but Big Honey responded this morning to the last story that we talked about, the local one, and he goes, what, is Joe Lode woke now?
Joe Lode as well.
He was upset, and I get it.
All right, the moves to Mazda. Anything else, Davey? Oh, you know what I wanted to do is we had Tony call back, and he could not use his Tom Papa tickets for the Turning Stone coming up on December 1st. These are nice seats from a phenomenal comedian. So I'll take the first caller. We'll give you his tickets. Call Davey right now.
I couldn't have them. You had to make the announcement.
315-736-0186 for Tom Papa tickets from the Turning Stone. First caller through the lines right now at WIBX. And the Move to Mazda sales event is going on right now at Steep Pawnee Mazda. 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 Mazda CX-30s, CX-5s, and CX-50s. Enjoy 0% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 Mazda CX-9s. Ricky Z and everybody at the Move to Mazda sales event, and that's Steep Pawnee Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville. News is next. Back tomorrow morning. Enjoy your day. WIBX Utica, Rome.
Flooding, mudslides, down trees, and power lines. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News at 6 a.m. in the west. Now it'll be easier to see how bad the flood damage from Tropical Storm Hillary is in Southern California with the sun coming up.
The water didn't have anywhere to go, so at the bottom point, it trenched into our driveway through a mudslide.
There's search and rescue operations for anyone trapped. Hillary's now downgraded to a post-tropical storm, meaning its wind speed is slowed down, but there's more rain to come. It's expected to move into Idaho by tonight. The mayor of Maui County, Hawaii, says about 850 people are now unaccounted for. There are 114 deaths confirmed in the wildfires there.
The president and first lady will leave Lake Tahoe, Nevada, where they've been since Friday, to head for Maui, Hawaii, to view the wildfire devastation firsthand. Governor Josh Green said on CBS Face the Nation what the president will see has been unparalleled for decades.
The largest catastrophe and disaster that's ever hit Maui. Probably it's ever hit Hawaii outside of wartime events.
The president last week made disaster assistance available to the